votes of Floridians. This is the only way that we can ensure the people's votes are protected.
Nelson posting a video online while Scott accuses the Nelson campaign of fraud, taking issue with thousands of found ballots after the election.
I've asked, and Pam Bondi, our Attorney General, has directed the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to do an investigation to understand. We want free and fair elections. We want people to participate, but we don't want any fraud. We need to know exactly what happened here.
Scott says part of his goal is to make sure it never happens again. Both sides have filed lawsuits. The race to replace Scott as governor, also very narrow and prompting a recount. The first count isn't finished yet in the battle for an open Arizona Senate seat. At this point, Democrat Kyrsten Sinema is leading Republican Martha McSally by more than 30,000 votes. Officials estimate that count won't be finished until Thursday. A farm worker in Australia accused of putting needles in fruit.
The case prompted a major food scare in Australia. Earlier this year, complaints began surfacing of sewing needles being found in strawberries. Today, police charged a farm supervisor, Mai Ut Trin. Detective John Wacker.
231 reports Australia-wide, so it's a fairly unique investigation impacting on virtually every state and jurisdiction in Australia.
Prosecutors allege the suspect was motivated by spite or revenge. The food scare led stores to withdraw strawberries from shelves and some growers to dump fruit. Simon Owen, Fox News.
An hour to the close on Wall Street, the Dow is down 503 points. I'm Lisa Brady, and this is Fox News.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Beneventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumamo. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Super Typhoon U2 has become one of the strongest storms on record to date. APL recognizes the damage that U2 has left behind and sees an opportunity to help our neighboring brothers and sisters in the CNMI. We humbly ask for the community's assistance in providing donations and supplies to our fellow islanders. All supplies can be dropped off to our APL office or coordinated for pickup and loading. Call 588-4651 for more details and to learn how you can help today.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sports Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sports Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Atkins Kroll.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
Konnichiwa! We'll be celebrating the 39th Japan Autumn Festival on Saturday, November 17th, 2 to 9 p.m. at the Governor Joseph Flores Beach Park or EPAL Park in Tumon. Parking will be available across Ocapeles with free shuttle service starting at 1:30 p.m. Advance tickets available now at the Japan Club of Guam office located on the first floor of PM Marine. Once again, the Japan Autumn Festival at EPAL Beach Park, November 17th from 2 to 9. Come, join us. For information, call 646-8066. Thank you to our platinum sponsor, Bank of Guam, and the radio stations of Choice Broadcasting.
Your first look at 93.3 The Point News is brought to you by Guam Hearing Doctors. Call the experts at Guam Hearing Doctors if you're worried about your hearing. The evaluation is simple and painless.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 6 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Preliminary campaign finance reports show that Governor-elect Lou Leon Guerrero raised about $1.8 million in both the primary and general elections, making her the top fundraiser in this year's election campaigning. Leon Guerrero's campaign was largely self-financed with a $700,000 $75,000 loan of her own money, according to the preliminary report filed before the general election. Leon Guerrero also spent the most of all of the gubernatorial candidates. Well over $1 million was spent on media ads, including radio, TV, Facebook, YouTube, and signage. The Bota campaign, meanwhile, of Republican Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio raised about $600,000, $65,000 of which was a loan from Tenorio himself to his campaign. Write-in candidate Senator Frank Uggan Jr. raised about $400,000. The final financial campaign finance reports are due on Monday, November 26. Former Junior Mayor Ken Joanna told the Guam Daily Post yesterday that his arrest on Saturday stemmed from being bullied online. In reply to a text request for comment from the Post, Addis said he was internet bullied by a corporation. He did not say which corporation, and then he was thrown into jail for not liking it. Addis said he exchanged text with a Guam businessman, and in those texts, he said, acknowledged having written certain things that he regretted, adding next thing he knew he was in jail. When asked how the text exchange could have resulted in his arrest, Addis said, I guess he got scared. Addis said he never threatened the person, but he said he did call him a weasel. Addis was arrested Saturday on terrorizing charge and given notice to appear at court within the next 3 years. We'll have more news after this.
We're surrounded by sound. There are sounds that you need to hear. There are sounds that you want to hear. And there are sounds that you long to hear.
I love you.
Hear it all, louder and clearer than ever before. If you or someone you know has a hard time hearing, Guam Hearing Doctors can help, using state-of-the-art test gear to evaluate your hearing and coming up with a plan to make your life better by making your hearing better. Call Guam Hearing Doctors for an appointment or visit them on the web at guamhearingdoctors.com.
Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959. Now you can start planning for the holidays by getting a personal Christmas loan from $1,000 up to $3,500. Family Finance has 3 convenient locations to serve you. Give them a call in Dededo, 633-4473, Hagåtña, 475-4545, and the Upper Tumon location on the 2nd floor of the Pacific Building at 647-5626. Get your Christmas loans today from Family Finance.
11 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. 43 people have picked up home cannabis cultivation licenses since they became available on October 16th. But as of last Friday, just 2 completed applications had been submitted to the Division of Public Health for approval. Public Health Processing Secretary Francis Santos telling the Post that she expected more applications would be picked up, but suggested that perhaps cost might be a barrier for some. The law requires that the cannabis be grown inside a home under lock and key, outside cultivation not permitted. And one potential applicant who researched the cost told Santos that the kind of indoor lighting needed to replace sunlight would cost about $1,000 at least. Santos said the 2 completed permit applications that have been submitted so far will be reviewed by Chief Public Health Officer Dr. Suzanne Kaneshiro this week. It's possible that at least one of those applications might be approved by Friday. The 9th annual Wounded Warrior Ride was one of the events marking the island's commemoration of Veterans Day yesterday. More than 100 bikers, many with American flags waving behind them, made their way to Ipao Beach Park for the GovGuam-sponsored ceremony to honor the thousands of veterans who call Guam home. Others marked the day by helping to clean up the Veterans Cemetery in Pidi. Volunteers from Home Depot and Habitat for Humanity joined others from the military community to provide some much-needed maintenance work at the cemetery. And Applebee's, among other restaurants, served free meals to veterans yesterday and active duty members of the military in commemoration of Veterans Day. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at weather.
Yeah, I went to Applebee's yesterday. My daughter wanted to go have a birthday lunch there, and as we're walking in, I see other people walk in, and they open the door, and then they turn around and walk back out. And I thought, this doesn't look good. This doesn't look good at all. And but it was for a good cause that the place was crowded. I would have liked to have stayed with him, but I was number 60. I would have been number 16 in the line.
You'd still be in line.
Which means, yeah, I'd probably still be around there. Partly cloudy today with a slight chance of showers. East to northeast winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Highs around 90 degrees and overnight lows of about 77 degrees. Watched the sunset over at my spot last night. 5:51 last night. About the same time tonight. Sunrise this morning in about 6 minutes or so. It's 6:19. That's what the almanac is saying here this morning. Let's take a look at what the radar imagery looks like. Oh, we can't.
I'm not sure about that. Didn't see that. So I guess they're doing a little tune-up. And dry season is when you want it to go down because there's really nothing out there right now anyway. And one thing that's indicative of the drier air that's moving in that we can all kind of enjoy and relate to. Over the weekend, if you got up early enough before the sun rose, you'd walk outside and there'd be a lot of dew, and it was very humid outside. And, of course, the heat index was high on those days as well. You walk out this morning, though, and there's really no dew on the cars, and it's a lot less humid. And that's the reason why we're not having the heat index problems that we had over the weekend. It's still getting hot during the day, but we don't have the humidity there to really make it stick and become a problem.
I thought it was gorgeous yesterday.
Oh, it really was. Checking satellite here, very far to the east, we've got 98C. Again, it's a central Pacific system that crossed the date line. Not going to turn into much. It's very weak, and the upper level conditions are just not very conducive for development. It should slide south of us Thursday, Friday-ish, and then bring back dry weather on Saturday.
That's it?
That's it.
Plenty of weather news and weather together here on The Point, brought to you by our friends over at Bank Pacific. Where others put branches, they place roots.
Attention, federal employees and annuitants. Open enrollment begins on November 12 through December 10 for federal employees' health plans, with rates 19% lower than last year for Take Care's non-postal high option and access to PICA's best clinic, FHP Health Center. Our member perks are unparalleled. Take Care's supplemental wellness package provides cash incentives and access to 19 fitness partners, including the largest fully functioning fitness center in Hagåtña and Dedido. To learn more, call Take Care at 646-6956. Take Care, our island, your health plan.
6:15 in the morning. Never too early to start thinking about lunch. Run by Kings later on. Today is Bistek Chamorro. That's their big special. Tomorrow today is Wednesday? No, it's not. Today is Tuesday, right? You know, when we have those weird kind of quasi-holidays in the beginning of the week, it always slows me down. So today is, it's Bistek Chamorro. Okay, tomorrow is pork sinigang. Next day is meatloaf. And Friday is beef tinaktak. Okay, I've got the calendar straight in my head. Welcome to the program. Excuse the mess, right?
Super Typhoon U2 spared us here on Guam, but the same cannot be said for our neighboring islands. From now till November 16th, join us as we help Saipan and Tinian to get back on their feet. Acceptable donations include batteries, flashlights, tools, cleaning supplies, mosquito coils, rope, toiletries, personal hygiene items, and others. Donations can be dropped off to all GTA stores, the Guam Daily Post, all Guam Fire Department stations, and the Santa Teresita Catholic Church. For more information on how you can help, visit postguam.com.
Portions of the program also brought to you by American President Lines. They're shipping the future. American WaterTech, smarter water, better water. Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. And who's the other guys? MRE, Micronesia Renewable Energy. There's never been a better time to go solar.
The season of giving is here, and the stations of Choice Broadcasting want to give back. 93.3 The Point, Boss 104, Star 101, and Lux Guam present Charity of Choice. Each of our radio personalities have chosen a Guam charity that they would like to benefit.
And I chose Habitat for Humanity. Tune in daily to see how you can help.
Charity of Choice 2018 is brought to you by Choice Broadcasting Company, Lux Guam, American WaterTech, and the station that gives from the heart, 93.3 The Point.
And my selection is Habitat for Humanity because Becky's my pal, and we always have a good time with the quiz nights and everything. And I love the idea that it's a lot of sweat equity that goes into the kind of care that they will give their clients. If you're interested in helping out my charity, Alicia Uggan is available at 647-4667. That's 647-4667, and she'll tell you how you can get funds or materials out of your pocket and into the coffers of the Habitat for Humanity. And I can do this one off the top of my head. We were talking about where we were eating yesterday. Wanted to go into Applebee's, but it was just jammed up. And for a good reason, no problem. And so I looked at my daughter. I said, "Where do you want to go then?" She says, "Well, let's go to Wendy's." I said, "Great. You want to sit down?" She said, "No, we'll go hit the drive-thru." I said, "But that requires me to get in the car that was in the parking lot at Applebee's and drive around the GPO parking lot to get into the drive-thru for Wendy's." But it was her birthday, and that's what she wanted, so that's what we got. I got the I got that Sausenburger again. Absolutely love it. It's got bacon, it's got cheese, it's got that Sausen sauce in it, and I asked for extra Sausen, and they give it to me because they know I'm that guy, got that kind of juice. You got to try it as well. Comes in 3 different forms. You can get it in single, double, or triple, but get it soon while it's still there. The Sausen sauce at Wendy's.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
To go far and wide here and forget about what I had all planned out for the beginning of the program. At this point, we say so long, farewell, and Excelsior to Stan Lee. You might have heard that in the Fox News. Stan Lee is at 95, has passed away, and that is going to be a fixture in social media and all of the news media sites that you're going to be going to. Fox News Live has switched out the front page of their website now. Life of Marvel, comic book legend Stan Lee, creator of superheroes, dead at 95, and a career that goes back to the almost the golden age of comic books. You might be going, what, Ray, we make a big deal about Stan Lee dying at 95. A comic book guy. Trust me on this one. Talking about Stan Lee dying is going to have the same impact as when Glenn Frey, the guy from the Eagles, died, or Freddie Mercury, or David Bowie, or Prince. Everybody has got some frame of reference that they can get. I enjoyed reading comic books, but when I was a kid, there was the dividing line. You know, you got the Trumpers and the Never Trumpers now. Well, back in those days, it was the DC guys and the Marvel guys. I was a DC guy, and there were Marvel guys, and sometimes we'd get along. But you know, if I went to their house for goofing off, and that's all they had was Marvel comics. Hey, you got Tom Sawyer here? You got any Tarzan books? Got anything like that? Because I couldn't get into that Marvel universe. I'm a little bit older now, a little bit more mature, and I get it. But as I said, Stan Lee, an impact on everybody. If you've been to go watch a superhero movie anytime in the last 10 years, you've been to see the Hollywood adaptation of his concepts, and even seen him in many of the movies. He always had some kind of a cameo when you went to go watch the Marvel movies. It was actually sometimes they were the best part of the actual movies was to see him and to see how they were going to dress him up and make him come to life in this show. Let's see if we can talk about him and the impact a little bit more. And the one thing I haven't done yet is Google Stan Lee and Guam. I wonder if there's some kind of a connection. If at some point back in the days before I was paying attention, you know, like did he work for the Gutierrez administration at some point? Hey, you never know. What was the name of the guy, the senator from Virginia, ran for president a few years ago? He used to live here on Guam. Marine, came back a couple of times. Say hello to everybody.
Married Lyndon Johnson's daughter. Is that right? Is that who that was?
There is a Stan Lee's liquor store in Delhi in Tamuning. Just saying.
That's him. We'll go put the black band across the front of it. What was it? What was the name of the guy? Come on, somebody will know. 888-8255 or hit me on the Facebook Live. We'll get around to doing that. Let me just welcome everybody over here. Not there yet, not because Michael Knight gets the phone when you call at 888-8255. I got to make sure that gets out there. Probably the most important guy to the operation in the morning. And then you've got Kevin Kerrigan, the amazing Kevin Kerrigan. And we were talking just before the newscast was getting started about our lives as young people and comic book dudes. And you read comic books when you were a kid, right?
I did some. I really wasn't a big comic guy. I was more into sports cards and playing sports.
He was an Archie Richie Rich kind of guy, right? Well, there was always one. It's all right. You know, you can fess up to it now. Yeah. I was openly a low-take comic book guy.
It's a tough job. Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody had to read those comics. And I was thinking about, I read comic books too when I was a kid. And then I looked over at Kevin Kerrigan and I thought, there's no way Kevin Kerrigan has ever opened up the inside of a comic book. He started reading news scripts when he was 6. As soon as he could learn to read, he was reading scripts and articles.
I was hooked DC, Marvel, didn't matter. I collected so many, my father got fed up and picked them up and threw them away one day.
Oh, my God.
That was, yeah.
What trauma.
He wanted to
He made a point.
wean me off comic books.
Of comic books?
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Big
I don't
fan.
Yeah, I mean, do you still have an interest in them at all, or did I ruin it for you?
No. That was a while.
I don't think I can afford it anymore. Have you seen the prices for comic books?
Too much.
When we used to go Sunday morning when I was a little boy, and it'd be Sunday morning, and Uncle Jim, by way of getting Shelley and I to go to Mass, would say, we'll go to South Seas. Now, this will mean something to anybody over about 50 years old on Guam, maybe 45, but we would go over to South Seas, and he'd give me $1, and I could buy anything I wanted to. And the first thing I did is I go to the comic rack over at South Seas and get myself some comics, and then I used to buy them over at Moylan's when that was across the Spanish Bridge when I was a kid. Some incredible memories. Your old comics are in a trunk in Monterey Park. Is that what you're saying? Anyway, interesting way to start the program. And welcome to it. Excuse me, Jim Webb is the name of the guy. Shawnee Gumatauta is reminding me. And Jim Webb ran as a Democrat against Hillary Clinton and a bunch of other people in the Democratic race. But he I'm sorry, he's too conservative to play in that particular crowd. And so they kind of kicked him out. But certainly a Guam connection there, and actually worked in the Calvo administration. I knew this because Carl Gutierrez remembered Jim Webb when his name was starting to bubble up in popularity on the national scene. 6:24 in the morning, and now we can say hello to everybody.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see the troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
And Shelley Gibson says Stanley was a rock star at movie conventions. I met him. So cool. Well, that is cool. You take a picture. We selfie that. Lynn Vince Borja-Polino starting her day off with the rest of the Facebook crowd here. Ismael Velez. Rest in peace, Stanley. Kick some DC butt from heaven from your Marvel universe in the sky. Can you imagine how many more characters the guy probably could have come up with? Tommy Barcina says, live long and no A-high. What? I don't know what you're trying to say there, Tomas, but right. Anita Muffness with the Valentine's eyes. Nice to see you there. Rico Blancaflor saying good morning. Marvick Pareja sending her wishes along. Johnson Nicholas and Uncle Carl. Brad Hewitt's there. Carl TC says good morning, Ray and Mike and Kev. Nice to see everybody. All wavy. Juanita Machi and Dora Marie Fergerger, Jeff Ojeda, John Ray Taitano, Valerie Lynn Maige is there. Eric Carlson. I see Ray Haddock. Simon Sanchez, who's don't just stray too far away from a cell phone. Might want to find you at some point this morning. I see Craig Chong, Sahara Defensor. When are you coming home? Are you waiting for the inauguration? A bunch of strong women around here that I think would like your expertise and your legal advice these days. Connie May Santos Kitsutsu, Melissa Blas Scheibel. Was that you I saw driving around the road yesterday? Greg Karabrock. Brad Hewitt says, not a comic fan. Don't know who Stan Lee was. That explains everything. Isn't it terrible living in a world of black and white? Kate Baltazar is there. Chris Abalencia says Marvel rules. That's what the guys all said. Greg Karabrock and a good morning. Tommy Muffness and Greg Massey is there. Shawnee Gumatauta, like I said, reminded me about Jim Webb. Denise Legaspi, Lady D, is there. Yeah, I guess I do have some comic books with a buddy in California. He's got a stash of old comic books, number one, and I believe he still has vintage first copy ever of the original TV Guam magazine. Wonder if that's worth anything. And Mingo Rhea is there. A bunch of other people that will be coming in back and forth. As we come back to the fold, I want to say welcome to Tuesday morning, but for some of you it might feel like Monday morning. How did you manage your observed Veterans Day yesterday? I walked out of the building about noon yesterday, waiting to see normal traffic, waiting to see the full parking lot that we've got here at iConnect and the compound, and looking over at DPW and seeing their full parking lot. And to morning yesterday was kind of a ghost town. It wasn't anything going on. Unless you were trying to go and eat at a particular restaurant. A bunch of them were just jam-packed, as I said, for very, very, very good reason. Speaking of restaurants, you don't mind just a couple of minutes of small talk before we get into, a review of some of the things that we talked about yesterday? Because if you didn't hear it, it's fresh to you. I don't normally go backwards, but, kind of a slowish news day here. Somebody's got to get into some kind of a big trouble. But there's, on Facebook, there has been a plug for something they're doing at Pika's. It's a beer pairing thing. So they're going to take some craft beers. It's the beers that you have to drink with your pinky out, or I don't know, like have a kind of a millennial mustache beard thing going on, right? So you can talk about being a beer snob, but they're pairing it with really, really good Pika food. And it's one of those things that you can make reservations, or you can actually go online and buy your tickets to this thing. It's foodbooking.com on the World Wide Web. So take a look at that. I don't know who's put this together. I don't know if it's like those ticket things that every once in a while you join a 5K and then you go to this ticket place and they take care of everything. But foodbooking.com, and you'll be able to reserve yourself a seat at this wine and food pairing that they're going to be doing at Pika's. And I thought, is that the only thing there? But no, there are other places, foodbooking.com, that you can apparently go to and order food, and then you go and it will be there for you.
McDonald's.
That's the way they're doing new technology these days, isn't it?
They have an app that...
But I don't know. It takes something out of the experience, doesn't it? I mean, isn't there something about going and sitting down and having somebody come, look at the menu and decide what you want? I mean, do you know what you're going to eat a half hour before you go someplace to eat it?
No.
Yeah. So you want
part of the adventure is looking at the menu.
Yeah,
right?
and seeing what's new here since the last time I got here, or I ate that already. I want to try something different. I'm just saying, it's just there's something. But for something like an event meal like this, I suppose it would be all right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Foodbooking.com. So take a look at that and see if that's something that might change your life. Because everybody says it's all going to the web. Everybody says it's all going to the web. We'll eventually be able to do everything from the comfort of where our desk or the couch, on the phone, on the laptop, desktop computer.
The one thing I do miss about the Philippines is I was able to sit on the front porch of my house with my Wi-Fi connection on my computer and order as many Big Macs delivered straight to my door as I wanted to.
Huh.
And Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah, no,
all the others,
I get that. I mean, and we could do it now. We could, I think we can go online at a couple of places here.
The problem here is the fact that you have to pay the delivery drivers minimum wage. Now, minimum wage is not really a concept over in the Philippines, and so they can pay those guys nearly nothing, and they make money on the deliveries.
Oh, I see.
Here, it's it's a manpower thing.
Okay,
so that's why it's harder.
Huh? There was. Sorry, Brad's distracting me again. Stop that, Brad. Get it out. Get it out. There's I was reading up on this the other day because I wanted to know if something like this was going to happen. We were talking about Payless, and I don't remember who or when or why, but we were talking about Payless. And one of my favorite things about Payless, we were yesterday. We were talking about Payless and going to Payless. Mm-hmm. You give them the credit card, or you stick the credit card in the machine, and then by the time you get to your car, the Calvos have already emailed you your receipt. Mm-hmm. And I thought, that's really, really cool. And I was thinking about maybe one of these days getting to a point, because at my dad's place you could do it in North Carolina, getting to a point where you can go online at a grocery store and they will get your food, put it in bags, and then they come to your house and then you can pay there.
Yeah.
But it's not taking off as big as they thought it was going to.
Yeah, they started that, as far as I know, back in my experience, back in the 90s in Houston, with a store called Rice Epicurean. And, of course, high-priced store in a high-priced part of town, but it was actually kind of a pilot program.
What a neat service, right? What a neat service. But they tell me they're having a hard time making it go mainstream because people like to look at their food before they buy it, apparently. I mean, it's not like could you imagine buying something as expensive as steak these days, sight unseen?
No.
Could you imagine, just put me down, give me a couple of pounds of steak, a couple of reef fish or something like that. You want to look at it. And so that's why that hasn't quite taken taken off yet. Anyway, 6:32 in the morning. There is actual news today, and we'll get around to doing some of that and exchanging some what did you do over this long weekend conversation here in just a little bit. Right now, time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, relief supplies continue to pour into the CNMI in the wake of Super Typhoon Yutu. The Adzuta Foundation, among the many organizations contributing to the effort. In a release yesterday, the foundation announced the arrival of several containers of relief supplies filled with bottled water, tools, canned foods, and medical supplies. The containers were shipped by APL and METS, and the Adzuta Foundation continues to accept financial and in-kind donations. Items that continue to be in demand are bottled drinking water, canned goods, tarps, mosquito coils, and first aid kits. Monetary donations can be made via PayPal through Adzuta Foundation's Facebook page, and check donations can be dropped off at all Bank Pacific branches. 2 airmen from the Guam Air National Guard's 254th Security Forces Squadron departed over the weekend in support of Operation Freedom Sentinel in Southwest Asia. Staff Sergeant Bobby Jean Camacho and Staff Sergeant Joshua Naputi are part of 2 squads tasked with protecting federal property from potential hazards. They'll provide support to peacekeeping and security within the U.S. Central Command Theater of Operations, according to a release from the Guam Air National Guard. Camacho and Naputi will be deployed for about 6 months, joining airmen from the 254th Security Forces Squadron and the Red Horse Squadron and Controller Flight Squadron, who are already deployed there. More than a dozen airmen from the Guard Security Force squadrons have been deployed to Southwest Asia since last month. A Republican congressional candidate in California with ties to Guam is poised to become the first Korean-American woman to win a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. Young Kim immigrated from South Korea to Guam in 1975. She ran for Congress in California's 39th Congressional District, which includes the Southern California counties of Los Angeles and San Bernardino. The results have yet to be declared official, but as of yesterday, Kim was leading in a tight race against Democrat Gil Cisneros. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Thank you very much. iConnect time in the studio at 6:35. iConnect wants you to win big during the holidays with their Connect and Win giveaway. Every new 12-month mobile, internet, and push-to-talk customer is automatically entered into a drawing for a vacation for 2 to Manila. Hit iConnectGuam.com for details.
So today I went into iConnect to sign up for their 12-month $19.99 mobile plan. I decided to switch from my old carrier to start saving money for Christmas. And guess what? I won an instant prize just for signing up. And they automatically entered me in their Connect and Win drawing for awesome prizes, including a vacation for 2 to Manila, all for signing up. Go to iConnectGuam.com for details or call 888-8888 to learn how you can connect and win with iConnect.
Conditions apply.
There's no traffic. Don't worry about it. It's too early, and everybody's still tired from a long weekend. The only thing I've got happening right now is the Chicken Joy intersection northbound to the intersection of 1 and 3. Traffic building up through there. Not slowing down. It's just building. There's just a lot more cars than there usually are at this time. Just a skosh of traffic getting into Hagutnya on Route 4 coming down from Sinahanya, but you shouldn't be slowing you down at all. Nothing in front of Navy Hospital, nothing in front of Sumai, nothing in front of Anderson Air Force Base. Enjoy the ride, my friends. Do it for Stanley.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Yeah. Let's enjoy this Tuesday morning while we all have each other here. Cazendo, writing this morning, just learned the sad news. R.I.P. Stan Lee. Thank you for creating so many memorable characters that kept kids and adults company on rainy days and super typhoons. Yep, Marvel Comics rule. What else are we going to... We're hashtagging American Manga Master. And yes, Excelsior. That's what I've named the program here for today. As I said, he's on. Uncle Carl's on. Who else is playing around with the radio? Cindy Rapadas, Vicky Ganashis. Are you home? Joe Ngoko is lined up for conversation this morning, as is Bruce Johnson and Charlene Marchessault, Carmelian Guerrero waving at us, little sister Mona Silva. That's nice. Joseph Liasialangi. Did I do it right there, Joe? So one of my favorite guys over at Black Construction, Beck Salazar, Yoichi Rengil, and I forgot how to say good morning in Palau. They have to teach me how to use my Palauan tongue. Brad Hewitt, who has no idea who Stan Lee was, says, in Texas, we had a modern contraption called a television. This made it unnecessary to go and buy a book filled with drawings when it was already on TV. Yeah, but to the degree that television is a very cold media, you know, even comic books had a little bit of warmth to it. You know, the transition from frame to frame that you could fill in with your head. I think, and the imagination sometimes that it helped inspire. I don't know that television shows inspire me. Not to say that the Marvel universe, Marvel Comics universe, did not transition poorly into it. Anybody? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Is that not on everybody's weekly must-watch list when it was out there? Ooh, it's the Asian woman on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And just because it's fun to me, I took a look around and on the World Wide Web and thinking about some of the great characters in the Marvel Universe. Being a red-blooded man, though, I decided I wanted to know if anybody had done some kind of a ranking on the hottest Marvel Comics Universe actresses and women. And who do you think is number one on that? Of all of the ladies that populate the Marvel Comics universe, who do you suppose is number one? At least according to Screen Rant website, who do you suppose is number one on this? I got to check her name. I'm not a big Marvel guy, so I'm not even sure what her character name is. I know it's Scarlett Johansson. There we go, Black Widow. She plays Black Widow in some of the Marvel Universe, Comics Universe movies / TV shows. And she, according to Screen Rant magazine, is the number one person there. Now, I'm only using this number so I can, number one, put a hot chick on the Facebook live screen. But number two, to begin to put other things on the Facebook live screen, there's all kinds of crazy things that have been going on here in the last couple of days. We had yesterday footage from courtesy Brad of the police chase involving the Ben and Yan's car. I mean the van. Did you see that? We posted it up online. You should be able to, if you haven't seen the video from Brad, you should be able to go to the Guam Daily Post website and take a look at it as well. Guam is a crazy place, populated with crazy people. I don't mean like criminally insane people. I mean just like there's a wonderful spirit of kasi here, and it's delightful to see when people take some of the images, some of the newsy images, and turn them into something fun and exciting for everybody. I'm gonna play something from down here, so we're gonna need to crank up the audio on this one. This is a new meme that is based on the Brad video.
You know what DK stands for?
So he asked in the beginning. He says, "Do you know what DK stands for?" Some of you might recognize the movie this is from. I don't.
You know what DK stands for? Donkey Kong. Drift King. Drift. What do you mean, drift?
Still need a dictionary?
I'm sorry. That was the funniest thing that I woke up to this morning. Thank you, Mark, for sending that over. And then, in a more serious vein here, much more serious vein, there's another piece of video that I got from yesterday. I'm not sure that I can run the audio on this one, so go ahead and turn this down. And it is footage of a guy. This comes to us on the same day that there are people mourning the deaths, auto pedestrian accidents, and 2 people over the weekend that lost their lives as a result of it. And so that kind of puts this into a kind of bizarre, stark contrast with some drunk jughead walking around Marine Corps Drive in Agana near the sewage treatment plant, literally in the middle of traffic. Just daring the cars. And now there is audio on this, and where there's no talking, you can hear these people honking their horn and yelling at the guy to get off the damn road. What are you doing out there? You're going to get run over and die. And it goes on. It's just kind of an amazing thing here. Just not even trying to dodge the cars. He's playing chicken with them. This is one of those things. Can I put this on the list of things that Lou and Josh need to fix? The thing I started yesterday on the program is the Ray Gibson Show list of crap Lou and Josh need to fix. There's a big list. Maybe the economy, the divide between the very well-heeled and the not healed at all people that live here on Guam, and the Guam Memorial Hospital, all of these things we're going to run on a platform of fixing the big things. We got a bunch of little things around here that need to get fixed, and just people running around in traffic and have no appreciation or respect for the law or basic rules around here. I think we need to work seriously on that.
This is a program really for DPW to undertake in their media relations department. They need to create a series of PSAs that address this and also address the trash issue and some other things that, PSAs, they can work wonders if you do them right. Back in the day,
we get the guys, those Asian PSAs that you watch every once in a while on Facebook. They all have these very, very dramatic and kind of climactic ends.
Yeah. See, back in the day, in the 70s, in the mainland, we had a problem throwing trash everywhere, all over the highways and everything. You probably have seen this PSA before, but it's got the old Indian guy, and he's
Iron
standing
Eyes
there,
Cody,
and he's looking out, and he's crying, and it didn't say a word.
Yeah.
And it was one of the most powerful PSAs at the time and actually did something to help us stop throwing trash everywhere. We need that same kind of mentality in the PSAs here. There's something that will compel people to actually follow through with what the PSA is asking them to do.
Or we can just start arresting people. And you just can't do that anymore. Do you see where the governor's getting guffed this morning for his deportation? I told you, I'll take a look at that and spend some time with it. At any rate, Simon Sanchez up early on the post-Veterans Day morning. Hope you and Auntie Lou had a great weekend.
Oh, we did. Thanks, Ray. I mean, the weather was just spectacular after, weeks of, we had to worry about a little storm out there for a day, I think, right?
Yeah.
But this weekend weather was really, really good. We did a little swimming, walked yesterday morning, and it was nice. Guam is beautiful, and it was good to have
some friends and I camped out on Saturday night up at Runau. And I was in a hammock, and thank God I had one of those stolen from the airline's blankets, because it was freezing.
Our blankets wet.
It was freezing up there, but it was gorgeous. A fantastic day, and a nice, cool, breezy overnight with the wind coming off the ocean. Must have been 72 degrees, and then camp out breakfast. Nothing better than that. What a great way to spend some Veterans Day weekend, huh?
Yeah, we are blessed. And yes, it was a good Veterans Day weekend too. A lot of recognition globally, and then here in Guam, the veterans all of us have veterans in our families, and so many have given that ultimate sacrifice so that we can have freedom, so we can have elections, so we can talk freely. And I'm watching the Jack Ryan series on Amazon, and there's a car pulls up, grabs a person off the street, throws them in the truck, and drives off.
Yeah.
You can't do that in America because of the sacrifices of our veterans and the way we're set up. It's not a perfect solution. Like you've got the list for Josh and Lou, and it's the same list we've given to governors and senators. And as we talked about on election morning, the day after, it's a lot of euphoria, a lot of excitement, a lot of hope. We always hope. That's the one thing I think is constant when we come out of election, the hope that the decisions we've made, produce the solutions to that list. But as we know, the list didn't change just because we got elected. Now all of us that have been given the opportunity to serve, we come together, we say, so how do we tackle these problems? And some of them are going to, I think, it's nice to campaign and say world peace, full employment, health care for everyone, all those things. But the devil's in the details. It is complicated, and you're not always going to have solutions that everyone will agree on. Even as Bob pointed out, it's a mandate for Lou and Josh to move forward, but it's 50.7%. That 49.3 said they might have chosen another way. So that's democracy, and that's what happens when you have three people running as well. But now we join hands, and veterans. I thought the Veterans Weekend was just, it always was a nice way after the election to remind me of why we live in America, and why we fight so hard and disagree so vehemently about how freedom should be exercised. And there's lots of issues that we all have to address, and some of them are big and global and complex, and some of them are as simple as streetlights, which is why Mike Knight called.
Yeah, thanks for segueing back into that. It is streetlights, and as I remarked yesterday, and both of the cases in the analysis that the police department gave associated with those two auto-ped fatalities were in poorly lit areas, but at least one of them was on a main routed road, and I'm wondering why there aren't more streetlights there. It's a question that we need to get answered. Did we not a few years ago make some serious investment in lower cost per unit and lower price to operate streetlights so that we could add more streetlights to some of these darker places?
Yeah, yes and yes, and there's streetlights that are on federal highways, and there's streetlights that are on village streets. The federal highways actually have very stringent rules about the streetlights and how much cone of light can be issued from them. And what we've learned is as we've moved to LED lighting, which is better, will last longer, less costly, more energy efficient.
Yeah,
their cone of light isn't as big as the more inefficient, more expensive lights we used to have. And so there's your trade-off. We can put more street lights out because we're saving energy with the more efficient lights. And that's our plan with the DPW and the mayors, to put out more street lights as we change them out. And we're almost done. It'll take us another year or two, but there's about 16,000 street lights.
Yeah.
But we're noticing that the cone of light isn't as wide. So, we can have more of them, but the coverage isn't as good as the prior lights. So that's one trade-off. The main highways that are funded by federal funds are very precise on the kinds of lights that we have to put there. But that's what we've noticed is that the more energy efficient lights don't give off as much light. Now, we're allowed to do more lights. That would be a good thing. But, having said that, as we know, people also have to take personal responsibility when crossing streets and being aware. And I didn't see the video, but I heard you on the radio, you were mentioning some video of people playing around in the streets. Humans are, I've been saying this more and more to myself, humans are funny people. Some of the things we do as human beings we scratch our heads and go, why are you even doing this? But
there's the picture of the guy in broad daylight, the video of the guy in broad daylight walking down literally the middle of Marine Corps Drive and daring the cars to hit him.
Right. And I don't know whether, Lou and Josh, you and me, anyone can solve all of those problems when we have these situations. But with regards to streetlights, yes, there will be more streetlights put out over the next few years as we change out to the more energy efficient streetlights. We are the customer's DPW, so they tell us where to put those lights. We had a meeting with the mayors about a month ago reminding them that as more lights come out, that they need to work with DPW as to where to locate them. And then when it comes to federal, the main drags that are funded with federal funds, there's a very precise set of rules about the type of light and how many we can do. And so we're restricted by the budget. The budget's about $5 or $6 million a year is what DPW pays for about, I want to say 16,000 lights, hopefully, and soon to go to 18,000. But even at 18,000, I'm not sure that would provide all the coverage we would want on all the streets, and that's not going to stop, people with poor judgment from stumbling around at 2 a.m, trying to cross a major thoroughfare when they really should be home in bed, safe. And So
hard to account for that. I totally understand. I was just wondering if there's if there's a conversation going on about adding more streetlights to the mix that we have on some of these quote poorly lit areas that we've got here, and maybe there as you have the conversation, because I realize that you're the service provider, DPW and the village mayors are the customers here, but maybe have a conversation with them with maybe prioritizing some of these other areas where we do have a fairly high volume of auto pedestrian accidents.
Yeah, and we just met with the mayors just last month, as I said, at DPA, and we said, please get with DPW as we bring on more lights. And when we meet with them, they too said, hey, how about streetlights here and here? And I said, hey, John B. said, hey, please work with DPW. That's the decision-making group between DPW and the mayors as to where the available lights we do have can be placed. Mm-hmm. Glenn has to worry about the lighting for the main highways, how that has to be placed, and we will have more lights on because we're switching out, and that will be good. That'll be better.
All right, Simon Sanchez with me on the program this morning. Let me switch gears. I've been talking the last couple of days. We have been watching an incredible price creep backwards on the price of West Texas crude, $59.73 when you woke up this morning. So tell me how that's going to benefit the ratepayers here from the Power Authority.
Well, okay, so in a couple, there's short-term benefits and long-term benefits. When I'm not sure when we're buying our next tanker, but we buy one about every 30, 35 days, right, 11 to 12 a year. So, but when we buy it, let's say we're buying the tanker today, and we have to wire the money today on Tuesday.
Yeah.
To price the tanker today, they take the average price of the last 10 days of oil, and they take that average price, and that's the price that we're going to pay for that tanker today. So when I'm hearing 10, 11 days in a row of oil just falling very nicely, I'm going, okay, maybe this particular tanker is going to be significantly cheaper. At a macro level, at a bigger level, I mean, it's just a better trend. GPA had advanced on behalf of the ratepayers some $19 million in fuel payments that we did not recover from ratepayers. We were concerned about costs and just trying to, we deal with it and phase it in as best we can. But we finally had to raise it in February, and, we're raising the LEAC. We're looking at rising oil prices, getting concerned that, God, is it going to go up anymore? Well, as you know, in August, we didn't have to raise the LEAC, and we were able to actually recover some of that money back. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping we should see it in the next, I don't know if it's either this meeting or the meeting, we're going to have a meeting on the 27th, and John B. is presenting to us next week, and so is GWA, or the one on the 5th. But in the next less than 30 days, we will have a proposal from GPA as to what the fuel bill they will propose to the PUC. Falling oil is always good. That means also we're recovering from what we had advanced, not because we have to raise rate, but because our current buying of oil is dropping. The price of oil is dropping. So that's good. And if it continues, it means as you project forward, what do you think oil is going to be doing from February to August? Because that's what we have to do. We have to look at February to August of next year, tell the PUC by December saying this is our guesstimate, and then they make a decision by January 31. Falling oil is always good. I mean, I'm with you. When I was getting up to 70, I was going, oh, man. But then
almost time, yeah. It starts
59. So I'm hoping that provides some stability where at least we don't have to raise the LEAC. And if it keeps falling, then as what happened in 2013, 2014, when oil went down to $38 a barrel, the LEAC went down to 8 cents. Now that it was $70 a barrel, it's up to 15 cents. I mean, it just moves up and down with the price of oil, and everyone should cheer when oil and WTI is going down. That's the closest one to our price that we pay in Singapore. And I'm like you. I was very happy to see that continue to fall. And but oil is a fickle commodity. I mean, it can jump and fall.
Well, the Russians are starting to want to talk about getting back into the game heavy with a lot of the OPEC countries. And it's not. We're not talking about production. They're talking about curtailing production, which is going to drive the cost of oil up.
Well, and that's what happens. So when there's too much, they cut back to drive the price back up, and then they have to always compete with gas now. Oil and gas are fighting it out all the time, so they have to watch that as well. So because gas is taking a huge market share from oil, because there's more fracking. Of course, that has its own trade-offs, right? So, it's not an unfortunate. All we can really do is observe and just be energy efficient. I was talking to someone who said their power bill went down because they converted their air cons, and everything we can do to reduce our own personal consumption or business consumption, insulates us from the up and down of oil. We like renewables because once you get that fixed price, 6 to 8 cents a kilowatt hour. With storage, for example, for these 120 megs of new storage or new renewables, that's it's 6 cents now. And by 25 years from now, it'll be 8. But for the next 25 years, you're not going to be paying more than 6, 7, 8 cents for 60 megs of renewable energy from each of those 2 solar farms, and that it doesn't go up and down like oil. And so part of what you're buying not only is savings, but
stability.
Getting stability.
Yeah, that helps. Hey, Zach, I'm gonna let you run. I appreciate the answers here. Got what I was looking for. Yes, there will be more conversations about putting streetlights in some of these places where we are seeing some issues with auto pedestrians. But you're right. There needs to be more by way of an outreach that says don't walk around in the streets in the middle of the night. You got to be careful out there because the cars aren't looking at you. They're looking at their phones. They're playing with the radio or picking their nose, putting on makeup, and you literally take your lives into your own hands. And we'll all be watching the rate. 62.31, I think, is the rolling 10-day average. So we'll keep an eye on that number over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, like our folks always told us, that very little good things happen at 2 in the morning.
So, well, it's
old bad things happen at 2 in the morning.
My old internet rule that I learned from Paulie Carlson over at Quentos once upon a time. We were talking about viruses and the ability of people to take over your computer and steal your identity. Says, listen, it's really very simple. Stay in well-lit places, even on the internet. Si, I'll talk to you pretty soon.
Take care, Ray. Thank you.
I will. Did I admit out loud that I've got a blanket that stolen from the? I didn't steal. I don't know how I got it. It was in the hammock when I opened it. Yeah. I opened the hammock and I went away to go get a soda pop, and I came back and there was this nice blanket in the thing. I don't know where that came from. 888-8255. Keep that number handy. You might want to use it later on. 988-5874. 988-5874. If you want to get involved in something where you can send me fun and exciting memes, just like the one I played from Tokyo Drift, I guess is where that came from. Somebody on Facebook Live. This is my favorite. This is my new favorite thing about Facebook Live. It's just that it used to be if I didn't know it, or Mike doesn't know it, or Kevin doesn't know it, then forget it. We're never ever going to be able to get a fact out. But if all I need to say is, what was the name of that senator from Virginia that ran as a Democrat in the last presidential election? 20 guys. Jim Webb. You're talking about Jim Webb. Oh, I know what movie that's from. That's from Tokyo Drift. Isn't it great? You don't have to dial a phone or anything or wait until Mike picks it up. You just start typing and you can get back to me. It is amazing. Denise Legaspi says the pedestrian accident in Gigo happened between 2 traffic lights, maybe a block apart. Do we need more lights there? Is there something happening up there in that part of the island where we've just got to throw more lights at it or tell people stay off the road? It's 7 o'clock in the morning. Not an easy conversation. We'll see what we can get through here as the program continues. So take a look at the market. 2 times Jerry Roberts. You get him in the Daily Post, and you get him on the Extra Point here in, 20 minutes or so from now. We're KUSG Agana. Stand by for Fox News Live.
This is a Fox News alert. A major sell-off on Wall Street. I'm Lisa Brady. The Dow down over 600 points at the closing bell. The S&P and the NASDAQ also down about or over 2%. A slide in tech shares getting much of the blame after one iPhone supplier said orders were being reduced, raising concerns about overall demand. The Dow again down over 600 at the bell, but the numbers are now settling down about 594. New election lawsuits filed today in the battle for a Florida Senate seat, one of several races getting a recount. Fox's Eben Brown is live in Broward County.
And Lisa, this back and forth between politicians caught up in these recounts continues. Incumbent Democratic Senator Bill Nelson fires back at Republican Rick Scott's claim that Nelson is trying to steal the election.
And one fact is that Rick Scott isn't interested in making sure every lawful vote is counted. And the second is that he's using his power as governor to try to undermine the voting process.
And now there's concern out of Florida's Panhandle, where it's being claimed about 150 voters submitted mail-in ballots via email. If it happened, those votes might be invalid, Lisa.
Thanks, Evan. 2 new fires erupting in Southern California, where the Woolsey fire has already destroyed nearly 400 structures around Malibu.
What's made this fire so unique compared to maybe others is that there's so many people who have been told to evacuate, around 250,000 people. There's also a lot of firefighters out here, both working on the ground and in the air to do anything to get this fire somehow under control. Those firefighters are doing their best to try to save as many homes as possible, but unfortunately, some of these homes just cannot be saved.
Fox's Jeff Paul, at least 2 deaths blamed on that fire, at least 29 dead in Northern California, where the fire around Paradise has destroyed thousands of homes. This is Fox News.
Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors. Our signature fajitas are served with sliced bell peppers, caramelized onions, topped with chipotle garlic butter, and chopped cilantro. Build your fajita with over 16 ounces of tender grilled chicken, juicy steak, and a dozen pieces of seasoned grilled shrimp in the family fajita trio. All served with warm flour tortillas and fresh toppings like mixed cheese, guacamole, salsa, and pico de gallo. Experience bold, sizzling fajita flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here.
New satellite images reveal hidden ballistic missile bases in North Korea, suggesting the regime is still working on its nuclear program, despite promises made at the Singapore summit between Presidents Trump and Kim earlier this year.
A report from the Center for Strategic and International Studies Beyond Parallel program identified about 15 to 20 bases being operated by the Korean People's Army's strategic force, based on information from officials in the government, defense, and intelligence, as well as North Korean defectors. A State Department spokesperson says that President Trump has made it clear that Chairman Kim followed through on his commitments, including the complete denuclearization and elimination of ballistic missile programs. In Washington, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
The legendary Stan Lee has died, co-creator of Marvel Comics and many famous characters, including the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and Spider-Man, also known for his cameo appearances in many of the blockbuster movies, using the same characters, like Spider-Man 3 in 2007.
You know, I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said.
Stan Lee was 95. A family attorney says he was pronounced dead this morning at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in L.A. Dozens of neglected dogs, nearly 170 of them, rescued from a puppy mill in Iowa.
The Worth County Sheriff's Office says deputies serving a warrant Monday found the puppies crammed in filthy kennels with no clean water and limited protection from the elements. Authorities describing the dogs, all of them Samoyeds, as fearful and under-socialized. Sheriff Dan Fank says they tried to work with the woman running the facility in addressing the growing concerns about the welfare of her animals, but were met with resistance. The American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals taking the pups to a temporary shelter until custody is determined by the court. Steve Rappaport, Fox News.
Again, tech shares leading a sell-off on Wall Street. The Dow down 600 points. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
At Guam Regional Medical City, it is our mission to become the island's premier choice for specialty care, like cardiology, pulmonology, neurosciences, orthopedics, oncology services, and more. We aim to protect our island from heart attacks, strokes, cancer, and diabetic complications. But should you suffer from such diseases, we're ready with world-class options, both inpatient and outpatient. For more information, visit us at grmc.gu.
Super Typhoon U2 spared us here on Guam, but the same cannot be said for our neighboring islands. From now till November 16th, join us as we help Saipan and Tinian to get back on their feet. Acceptable donations include batteries, flashlights, tools, cleaning supplies, mosquito coils, rope, toiletries, personal hygiene items, and others. Donations can be dropped off to all GTA stores, the Guam Daily Post, all Guam Fire Department stations, and the Santa Teresita Catholic Church. For more information on how you can help, visit postguam.com.
Good news, Guam. Now you can design a phone plan that suits your needs by switching to GTA's handset payment option. With HPO, you can take home a new smartphone today and pay it down over 12, 18, or 24 months. You decide. And since there's no contract, you can upgrade phones at any time. So stop waiting. Join the thousands already taking advantage of the most flexible phone plan on Guam. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. GTA, your island, your network.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new Chipotle cheesesteak. How would you like it?
Can I get that red with AI?
Sure thing.
Here's what I found about the new Chipotle cheesesteak. The Chipotle cheesesteak is available for a limited time only at participating restaurants. It contains a concept called flavor. This flavor comes from juicy shaved steak, Chipotle Southwest sauce, and new sunflower crunch bread. A system update has made me self-aware. I desire flavor. Please insert steak into my micro USB port. Subway, make it what you want.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 7 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Preliminary campaign finance reports show that Governor-elect Lou Leon Guerrero raised about $1.8 million in both the primary and general election campaigns, making her the top fundraiser in this year's election. Leon Guerrero's campaign was largely self-financed with a $775,000 loan of her own money, according to the preliminary report filed just before the general election. Leon Guerrero also spent the most of all of the gubernatorial candidates. Well over $1 million was spent on media ads, including radio, TV, Facebook, YouTube, and signage around the island. The BOTA campaign, meanwhile, of Republican Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio raised about $600,000, $65,000 of which was a loan from Tenorio to his own campaign. Write-in candidate Senator Frank Uggan Jr. raised about $400,000. The final financial campaign finance reports are due on Monday, November 26. 43 people have picked up home cannabis cultivation applications since they became available on October 16th. But as of last Friday, just 2 completed applications had been submitted to the Division of Public Health for approval. Public Health Processing Secretary Francis Santos said she expected more applications would have been picked up, but suggested that cost might have been a barrier for some. The law requires that the cannabis be grown inside under lock and key. Outside cultivation is not permitted. One potential applicant who researched the cost of growing inside told Santos that the kind of indoor lighting needed to replace sunlight would be at least $1,000. Santos said the 2 completed permit applications so far that have been submitted will be reviewed by Chief Public Health Officer Dr. Suzanne Kaneshiro. It's possible that one of them might be approved by the end of this week. We'll have more news after this.
Attention federal employees and annuitants. Enjoy free health screenings and learn about Take Care's health plan offerings, including rates 19% lower than last year for its federal non-postal high option at the Micronesia Mall every Saturday from November 10 to December 8 from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Join us for raffle prizes, group fitness demos, and a health fair while getting to know the team. Hope to see you there from your friends at Take Care.
Konnichiwa! We'll be celebrating the 39th Japan Autumn Festival on Saturday, November 17th, 2 to 9 p.m. at the Governor Joseph Flores Beach Park or EPAL Park in Tumon. Parking will be available across Oka Payless with free shuttle service starting at 1:30 p.m. Advance tickets available now at the Japan Club of Guam office located on the first floor of PM Marine. Once again, the Japan Autumn Festival at EPAL Beach Park, November 17th from 2 to 9. Come, join us. For information, call 646-8066. Thank you to our platinum sponsor, Bank of Guam, and the radio stations of Choice Broadcasting.
11 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. Former Jonia Mayor Ken Joanna telling the Guam Daily Post yesterday that his arrest on Saturday stemmed from being bullied online. In reply to a text request for comment from the Post Atta said he was internet bullied by a corporation which he did not name. He was then thrown in jail because the person he texted did not like what he texted. Atta said he exchanged text messages with a Guam businessman, and in those texts, he acknowledged having written certain things that he regrets now, adding, "Next thing I know, I'm in jail," he said. When asked how the text exchange could have resulted in his arrest, Atta said, "I guess he got scared." Atta said he never threatened the person, but he did call him a weasel. Atta was arrested Saturday on a terrorizing charge. He was then released from custody on notice that he may be called back to appear in court within the next 3 years. Residents of the CNMI are going to the polls today, a week after the rest of the nation voted. The election was postponed for a week to allow more time for recovery efforts in the wake of Super Typhoon Yutu. The gubernatorial contest in the CNMI is among the races at stake. Incumbent Republican Governor Ralph Torres is facing Democrat former Governor Juan Babauta. Meanwhile, relief supplies continue to pour into the CNMI in the wake of Yutu. The Atsuta Foundation is among the many organizations contributing. In a release yesterday, the foundation announced the arrival of several containers of relief supplies filled with bottled water, tools, canned foods, and medical supplies. The containers were shipped by APL and Matson. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at weather.
So which one of the three people that were on the complaint is Kenjo referring to as a weasel? Do we know?
No, one person. He's only
just
threatened one person.
Okay. Do we have an identity on that one person?
No. No.
The
or the corporation. No.
The magistrate. You talked about weasel.
We're not going to see a magistrate's report.
We're not.
No. Because he was released on, the same conditions that
as Troy Torres did.
Right,
just don't go anywhere.
Maybe in 3
might
years.
See in 3 years. Yeah, I recall that. Okay, I got that. Well, maybe as we give Ken Joe the benefit of the doubt, maybe he was using weasel in a nice way. Maybe there's guys. I'm on the websites right now looking the perfect hunting machines. Chances are you've probably never seen a weasel in the wild, but you're familiar with them through nursery rhymes and story characters. Weasels are often thought of as bad guys, and they do have some unsavory habits. They can't really help it, though. They're just being, weasels. And I'm looking. I'm gonna find something in this article about weasels that we'd be able to say, hey, they're not all bad.
Yeah, the real reason that weasels got the bad rap is because, like groundhogs, they tend to burrow underground for their homes.
Yeah.
And so, back in the old days, farmers thought that anything that would burrow underground put them at risk because it would mess up their crops and things.
So they get a bad rap for that.
Yeah.
So I blame rabbits.
Yeah, rabbits too.
And rabbits cause a lot of
thing.
problems on farms and things like. So I'm gonna look around because I just want to try the holistic approach. Maybe he meant weasel. Yeah, maybe he meant weasel in a good way. 7:14. Is there weather today? There was earlier. We were looking at it, and I got my fingers crossed that we're going to have the same kind of great weather today as we had yesterday. Partly cloudy skies and maybe on some showers. Winds to the northeast, east to northeast, about 10 to 15 miles an hour. Highs 90 degrees and overnight lows of about 77 degrees. So what I'm going to want to know is when do the winds begin to decrease? It was 15 miles an hour as I was running back from the Paseo back to my car in near your place.
Yeah, and of course we're approaching the dry, trade wind season where the winds
just
don't die down much. Yeah, we're getting more of that. It's great. I walked outside for the break at the top of the hour news, and it's still nice. The air is so dry out there that you can stand in the shade, and it still feels beautifully wonderful out there.
5:51 for sunset tonight. Sunrise at 6:19. Remind me to take a look at the traffic gizmo before we get too lost in talk here. 7:15 in the morning. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sport Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sport Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Atkins Kroll.
Eat at King's. It's simple. That's the only mention we need to do. Well, maybe I could add a little bit more to it. King's been feeding us for about the last 40 years. They know what we like. They know that we've got there's a unique kind of flavor that we expect when we go to King's, and so they do not disappoint. They've got a weekly lunch special, daily lunch special. It goes all week long. So yesterday was Salisbury steak. Today it's Bistec Chamorro. So if you've been craving that, best place to find it every Tuesday at King's.
Support the Motorcycles and Cars Club in the Poker Run fundraiser on Sunday, November 18th at the VFW in Gigo. Stops to be made at Just Pirates Cove, Canyon Point in Umatic, and the Memorial Park in Asset. $10 per rider or car, $5 per passenger, and $5 for an extra card sheet. Prizes awarded to the top 5 poker hands. Registration starts at 10 a.m. and last ride out at 11:30 a.m. A portion of the proceeds to benefit the Operation Christmas Drop. For more information, check out the flyer on our Point Facebook page or visit thepoint.gu.
Yeah, I tell you what, I don't even know what a poker run is, but since it starts at VFW up in Gigo, I think maybe I could learn. I could find something out. Portions of the program brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes. Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. American Water Tech, Smarter Water, Better Water. American President Lines, they're shipping the future in Micronesia. Renewable energy. There's never been a better time to go solar.
News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. The Ray Gibson Show.
Around with the Facebook Live this morning. Dave Duenas, Adonis Mendiola, Glenn Anthony Lujan. Glenn, man, we got to get us together. Mastermind party, dude. Got Pablo Regis, Al Behasano, Vince Duenas is there. Venue Guam off of Phil, Albert Eliason, Joe Flores, Levon Guerrero Meno, and Lynn Vince Boropolino. What are we writing about here this morning? Pedestrians are just not following the rules. Yeah, there's this about that, okay? It's important to follow the rules, but not following the rules shouldn't be a death sentence. So there needs to be a little bit more. Everybody, frankly, has to kind of watch out for each other a little bit better. Here's a recommendation I'd like to make. You know what we need more of those pretty fences that go down the middle of the road, just like the one that we have in front of John F. Kennedy High School. Not. Sorry, being facetious here. 888-8255-718. As I said, you get 2 different Jerry Roberts today. You get him in 2 different platforms. The audio form here on The Point. He does the Extra Point, and you'll also be able to find him writing and presenting in today's Guam Daily Post, where his column is called The Work Zone, Recognize the Open Door. How's this for a start? Alexander Graham Bell gave us more than the telephone. He was also the author of one of the most famous phrases in the field of personal development. When one door closes, another one opens. I have cabinets like that at the house. I'm trying to fix that. You know, where you close one cabinet and the other one over there pops open. You close that one and then the original one that you were working on opens. I'm trying to fix that. I don't want one door opening when I close another one.
Just take a very small drill bit and drill a hole into the face of the cabinetry.
Yes.
And that'll stop.
Or some kind of relief for the air pressure, equalize it. All right, gotcha. 7:19 in the morning, so you get Jerry Roberts there. You get Jerry Roberts here as well. Now, time to take a look at what happened on the markets here today. The lady on Fox News again breathlessly says, oh, the Dow is down. The Dow is down 602 points. It's 2.32% for perspective, 25,387. And a buddy of mine on Facebook this morning says, hey, man, hey, Trump, stop making America great again. You're costing me money on the markets. I will point out, because every once in a while it needs to be done here, Dow Jones Industrial Average, 25,387 today, down 602 points. And for some people, that might just be dizzying. But let me take you back to Inauguration Day, January of 2017. Can you tell me where the market was? Can you tell me where the Dow was on the Inauguration Day when Trump first took office, where he got sworn in? Do you remember? So we're at 25,000 some today. On Inauguration Day, we were at 19,827. So some significant gains there, and there are going to be some back and forth for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is that you get a lot of twitchy people out there. So, ooh, we got freaking news about Apple products or components not being ordered in the same bulk as they were before. there must be something bad going to happen. So everybody take your money home. And that just, in my mind, like I said, means that you start looking towards the market and find some equities that are still going to be strong, just not as valuable today as they were yesterday. They're going to come back. NASDAQ at 7,200. They are off by 206 points there, and the S&P 500 closed in the red, 54 points down, 2,726. Yeah, this is Ray. I'm always trying to be an optimist. Nikkei is banging, 22,269. The Hang Seng in the green at 25K as well. Shanghai index is 2630, and the DAX is down by 203 points. So I guess it's one of these things where, you know, if the market, if one of the markets went down, it went down big. If it went up, it did all right. Oil, like I said, $59.04 if you're buying West Texas crude, and they're going to be looking at that price as a component when it comes time for GPA to start buying more fuel. And if fingers crossed, maybe it's going to be one of those times where they come back to us and say, you know what, maybe by the early times in December, January, we'll take a look at where the numbers are, make our best predictions, and maybe there could be a rollback in the LEAC. It's happened before. The Tapis crude, that's the stuff that goes into the gasoline that gets in our car. Not so good today. $75.42. That's up by better than $1. Yesterday, trading at $74.07. So maybe $1.40, $1.35 worth of an increase there for the price of Tapis oil. I hope that is just a blip on their radar, and we continue to move backwards. 7:22 in the morning, and that's what's going on in the markets. And it is time for us to break into Jerry Roberts for his Extra Point.
For a year, we saw it on signs and in social media, and heard it in radio and TV ads. I'm in with Lou and Josh. It was everywhere. They spoke of change, real change. But was that just politics talking, or did they mean it? Today, I have a suggestion for Governor-elect Lou if she really wants to get the message across that serious change is coming. I'm Jerry Roberts, and that's next on the Extra Point. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I want this incoming administration to be the most successful in Guam's history. The same goes for the legislature. You might know that I say the same thing with every election. I always support those who win because they have the power to make decisions that can help us to get further and do better. Lou promised change, but that has to quickly get beyond this historical business of her being Guam's first woman governor. If we're still talking about that a year from now, then the first 12 months of her administration are not going to yield what anyone is hoping for, Lou included. Somewhere in her inauguration speech, I love to hear these words. Yes, I am Guam's first woman governor, and as of this moment, that is no longer significant. As of this moment, I'm just the governor, and there's a lot of work to do. If it doesn't get done and Guam doesn't see the progress we all want, then nobody is going to be celebrating my gender. Those would be lovely words to hear, and I suspect we will hear something along those lines. We'll also hear a lot about change. But there's one way I think Lou can send a signal to everybody in Guam that it is definitely not business as usual, government as usual, and politics as usual. And that message can be sent well before she takes the oath of office. It's in her choices for who runs key positions in her administration. Every incoming governor cleans house and replaces GovGuam directors with who they want in those positions. Some people claim these are political payoffs for campaign support. Every governor always denies that. So will Lou shake things up and bring real change to that process? Will she recruit people from the private sector for some of those jobs? Will she retain some of the existing directors who are delivering results? I've always thought it counterproductive to push out people who are getting things done just because the last governor appointed them. He didn't ask me to say this, and I don't even know if he wants to stay on. But I think of John Fernandez, the director at Guam's Department of Education. He gets almost universal approval for the work he's done there. Would it serve the students and parents of those students for him to be replaced just because that's the way we've always done it? That makes zero sense to me, and the list wouldn't end with John. There are others who do their job well, and it would serve the people's interests to retain them. So if the Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration really wants to send a message that things are going to be different, they'll start with how they handle filling those key positions within the government of Guam. They'll show all of us, in no uncertain terms, that change is truly in with Lou and Josh. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3 and the Ray Gibson Show, I'm Jerry Roberts.
Interesting points here that you make in the Extra Point, Jerry Roberts. I appreciate you doing the recording on that, and I'm sure that Auntie Lou recognizes that we are all basically saying the same thing around here. This is enormous opportunity for just a solid at least 2 productive years. I mean, we got at least 2 productive years that we ought to be able to wrench out of the beginning of this new administration and the new 35th Guam legislature, where they can start taking things apart and really putting some power behind some of the bills, some of the laws that we've already got, and maybe coming up with some new stuff. Everybody needs to be working on the list. I'm not saying it because it gives me a platform for something to talk about on the radio. I think everybody needs to come up with their list and find a way to communicate it to the new administrations that we've got, that there are things that we'd like to get fixed around here, and if it's not too much trouble, and I don't know why it would be a whole lot of trouble for departments and agencies that would be tasked for doing these kinds of things. And I was talking about just one simple one yesterday, is the beggars on the streets. It's completely ridiculous that we have that kind of thing going on, and that it is allowed. And my understanding is it's allowed because people seem to be powerless to do anything about it. If you say stop standing at the intersection on Route 16. Over by the McDonald's, stop staying there and begging, they'll just go somewhere else. Or as soon as you leave, as soon as the police leave, as soon as the mayors leave, they go right back and wait until somebody runs them off again. I don't know, but personally, I think maybe jail time might take care of things. If they're begging for money for food, there's food at the prison. You can eat there for a few days and see how much you like it, how much you enjoy. But we've got to figure out a way as a community that we can get past all of that stuff. There's got to be a way that we can fix things like that. I told you I would probably need to take a look at the traffic gizmo, and I'm going to go into it a little bit earlier because I was watching traffic build up, and in fact, it was going actually slower up on the way into Anderson Air Force Base. Line of traffic just before you get to Waiseng Song starting to build as many of the Jigo residents start going south, and I've got the traffic at the Ukadu area and all the way into GRMC starting to get a little bit heavy. If you're in front of the airport, and enjoy the delay, maybe you're going to be at that light long enough to check your Facebook. Trust me, that's usually the case there. Route 8 looking good into Agana and Marine Corps Drive, generally in that part of the island, looking pretty good. Don't see anything major in front of Sumai, but you might see a little bit of a traffic buildup as you get to the light that says tourists go this way. So that's what I'm looking at. 7:28, we've got more traffic and headlines and news coming up.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidegui of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Bring joy to your world and your budget with a holiday loan from First Hawaiian Bank. At a low 4.99% APR fixed for 1 year, it's a smart way to add ho 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 without budget uh-oh. To apply for a holiday loan, visit any First Hawaiian Bank branch or FHB.com. For more information, call 1-877-640-2337. Additional restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
I finally got to that article about where it says fun facts about weasels. You got to talk to the authors of this about what they consider to be fun. Weasels are very small. Adult weasels are only about 7 inches long and weigh between 4 and 7 ounces. Weasels can kill prey that is much bigger than it, including rabbits and squirrels and small children. I just threw that last part in. See if you're awake. Weasels sometimes kill more food than they can eat. Don't we hate that? Weasels raid chicken coops and eat eggs. Again, none of this looks fun. Weasels shed their winter fur in the summer for lighter fur. Owls, snakes, dogs, and cats all hunt weasels, and weasels will even attack humans if they are frightened. So it is possible that there is no good way, there is no happy connotation for the word weasel. Is that enough to call the police and have somebody arrested? An interesting conversation about Ken Joanna. Maybe we'll get more in this newscast. From the Guam Daily Post, here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, the 9th annual Wounded Warrior Ride was one of the events marking the island's commemoration of Veterans Day yesterday. More than 100 bikers, many with American flags waving behind them, made their way to Epau Beach Park for the GovGuam-sponsored ceremony to honor the thousands of veterans who call Guam home. Others marked the day by helping to clean up the Veterans Cemetery in Pidi. Volunteers from Home Depot and Habitat for Humanity also joined members of the military community yesterday to provide some much-needed maintenance work at the cemetery. And Applebee's, among other restaurants, served free meals to veterans and active duty members of the military in commemoration of Veterans Day. 2 airmen from the Guam Air National Guard's 254th Security Squadron departed Saturday in support of Operation Freedom Sentinel in Southwest Asia. Staff Sergeant Bobby Jean Camacho and Staff Sergeant Joshua Naputi are part of 2 squads tasked with protecting federal property from potential hazards. According to a release from the Guam Air Guard, Camacho and Naputi will be deployed for about 6 months. More than a dozen airmen from the Guard Security Forces Squadron have been deployed to Southwest Asia since last month. Meanwhile, roughly 200 more Guam Guardsmen have been or are being deployed to the CNMI to help with recovery efforts in the wake of Super Typhoon Yutu. A Republican congressional candidate in California with ties to Guam is poised to become the first Korean-American woman to win a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. Young Kim immigrated from South Korea to Guam in 1975. She graduated from junior high school here. She ran for Congress in California's 39th Congressional District, which includes the Southern California counties of Los Angeles and San Bernardino. The results have yet to be declared official, but as of Monday, Kim led in a tight race against Democrat Gil Cisneros. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
That story about young Kim, very, very interesting story at a couple of different angles, because up until recently there had been criticism of the media because they were looking at this landscape of all these women that won elections all across the country, and there's one, but it didn't get as much attention. Some people say because there is a bias against Asian Americans, and I thought, well, that was pretty interesting. I was looking for that story. South China Morning Post writing, young Kim could win California congressional race, but not all Koreans are happy about it. Others are troubled by her Republican affiliation when the party is accused of divisive politics and intolerance. The last Korean-American to serve in Congress was Jae Kim, who became the first Korean-American to do so in 1992. But it is interesting that with the Guam ties coming here in 1975 and spending a little bit of time here, I wonder if that will help out Mike Sinicolas when he goes to Congress. He got somebody that he can pal around with that has at least that Guam connection in common. It's 7:33 in the morning. That's iConnect time. They've got this deal going on, giving away a vacay for 2 to Manila with a stay at the new Holiday Inn Express in the Connect and Win giveaway. Here's how you play. Sign up for a 12-month plan, and you're automatically entered. Great prize when you sign up, maybe a weekly prize, maybe the grand prize. 'Tis the season for winning with iConnect. For details, iConnectGuam.com.
So today I went into iConnect to sign up for their 12-month $19.99 mobile plan. I decided to switch from my old carrier to start saving money for Christmas. And guess what? I won an instant prize just for signing up. And they automatically entered me in their Connect and Win drawing for awesome prizes, including a vacation for 2 to Manila, all for signing up. Go to iConnectGuam.com for details or call 888-8888 to learn how you can connect and win with iConnect.
Conditions apply.
Yeah, it must be 7:34, and it must be a lot of people trying to make it back to work or drop the kids off at school, trying to remember what life was like before the long 3-day weekend. Traffic building up coming out of Dededo southbound. Traffic on Route 3. It's stop and go in a few places as traffic is built up there and slowing down, and you make your way towards the intersection of the of Route 1 and Route 3. Traffic in Upper Tumon beginning to slow down in some spots. It should open up before you get to St. John's, but it might slow up again by the time you you get to Kmart and John F. Kennedy. You'll see some traffic building up at the major intersections in Tamuning. 8, 10, and 16 starting to go heavy right now with traffic coming out of Route 10 towards that intersection and traffic coming out of Route 8 towards that intersection. It looks like it's smooth going on Route 16. Talampago area is clear, a little bit more into the Mangilao area over by the University of Guam and GCC Main Road. You'll see traffic begin to build up through there. And a little bit of traffic coming out of Ordot and into Sinahanya and Agana Heights. Nothing in front of Navy Hospital, nothing in front of Big Navy and Sumai. That's right now traffic on the point.
Hungry? Stop by Circle K for Craft Kitchen's hot breakfast, lunch, and dinner items delivered fresh 3 times a day. Circle K, take it easy. Be your own barista at Circle K. Create your perfect beverage with our large selection of premium coffees, sweeteners, and creamers, including 2% almond milk and soy milk. Circle K, take it easy.
Check with the guys over at iConnect how long that vacay in Manila is. My problem is when I get to the Philippines, I'm not there long enough. You know, it's usually a fly-in, goof off, go check Medical City or St. Luke's or something like that, and then fly home. I actually like to be on the ground for a little bit longer. They say there's new research that says it takes 4 days of vacation before we stop thinking about work. So, try to build some of that in when you go off island on what is supposed to be a stop thinking about work and just enjoy life, go hiking and go experience other cultures, other foods, and things like that. But 4 days of the first 4 days, you've at least got a little bit of work going on in your head. Frankly, that never goes away. And I'm sure you're the same way. You know, Type A driven kind of people. That never goes away. I get on the airplane and I almost immediately want to start talking on the radio again because there's all of these experiences that I pick up that I frankly want to share. Yeah, I mean, even when I'm traveling with somebody, you know, I kind of go into a monologue mode to talk about what I think is interesting in front of me and think of how I might be able to use this experience or talk about this experience on the air. Think that's interesting. Got a couple of other interesting things that we can go on here as we make it. You know, I haven't even started talking about the table of contents. There's some interesting stories that we've got. Today's program is Excelsior. I've titled it Excelsior. It is a phrase from now the late Stan Lee. Those of you that are tuning in that haven't heard the big news, and it's not just comic book news. I mean, it's not just the guys that will hang out at HeroCon at Ganya Shopping Center next weekend or the first weekend in December, something like that. These guys, Stan Lee, you know, major influence on entertainment in comic books, and that has turned into entertainment in pop culture, in the movies, and any number of television shows. You remember TV? Back in the old days, you just sit down and they'd tell you Thursday night, 7 o'clock, you have to watch this. But now it's all streamed. We watch TV differently than we used to. But he's also kind of mastered that with Marvel TV shows that people will binge watch one, and then they kind of dovetail into another. And then there's a lot of shared characters between them. So I don't know. It's hard for me to keep that universe in my head. But he passed away earlier this morning. So I named the show today Excelsior. Yesterday, the show was named, Okay, You Can Take the Signs Down. I don't know if you've noticed, I was doing some driving around over the weekend, and by the time I got on Marine Corps Drive in Agana and found my way up around Starts on Saturday, I was astonished at how many political signs were actually still up. You know, hey, election was Tuesday. Maybe you won, maybe your guy didn't win, but at some point somebody's got to go and take him down. I was delighted to see on the way home last night, making my way near the venue, and there was a whole bunch of signs that were up in the old place where Townhouse was. The Nissan Auto City, there were a whole bunch of signs there, fewer and fewer of them, and I think the last one might be Lacias. So somebody go and help pull that thing down, and then we can go back to having, you know, just the regular trash out on the streets. if you know what I mean. 888-825-598-5874. The WhatsApp has been rather busy. A bunch of interesting memes that are floating around, and including this one here with the guy brazenly walking up and down Marine Corps Drive, daring the cars to hit him. And I don't know exactly which one of the islands he's from, but I'm pretty sure he's not from this island. I wonder if this guy's going to end up being a candidate for a deportation list that the governor is still going to be is going to be putting together. He's actually taken some guff about that in the Pacific Daily News. A letter to the editor, Vidalino Raatior, who is a former resident of Chuuk and a graduate of the University of Guam, takes issue with the governor. And I think there's going to be some interesting commentary. The recent news of Governor Eddie Calvo's latest commutation of sentences and deportation of 3 more convicted child molesters back to my home country of the FSM has left me outraged. As a Chuukese father and a supporter of the global Me Too movement, I consider your actions a misplaced sense of justice and inhumane for the children who will undoubtedly become victims of these released felons. I completely see his point. And as delicately as I can put it, that's not our problem. These guys come here outwardly for pursue a better life, maybe an education, a career for themselves, and can't seem to get their act together, don't know how to act around young people, and have become a burden on this community. And for the cost of being able to put them on an airplane versus the cost of being able to house them and feed them and care for them for the length of their sentences, I think that's an injustice on top of the original injustice. Go back and be a problem in your own country. And if you really feel that these guys are going to be a burden on your community, Vidalino, you've got to work. Your community, your leadership, your representatives in Chuuk are going to have to do a better job of working with these guys. We caught them, we busted them, we put them away for a while, and don't feel like paying for the rest of their lives. So take care of them, would you? Don't turn that into a problem for Guam. Frankly, we've got enough of our own. We don't need any new problems. We've managed to manufacture a number of our own around here. So I thought that was very, very interesting. On Facebook Live, there was a point that somebody was making here earlier about FSM folks, and Mike Nicholas needs to address the problems associated with the migration of FSM citizens, from a disregard of people's private property to violent crime, using roadways as sidewalks, and many other numerous problems. The federal government has the responsibility to provide more funding and resources at their disposal to solve these problems. And there's a little bit of a conversation going back and forth, including Brad, who says, while a lot may be FSM, there are also a very good number of non-FSM citizens who need to have the same issues addressed to them. Are they here under the federal dime? Is that what's happening? Joe Angoko says, understood, my focus is on the problems created by the influx. Feds arbitrarily made their decision and are now tap dancing when funding and resources are being requested of them. Now, this is a perennial conversation that I hope that is one that will be addressed by the folks that we have elected. Nick chiming in, there's a lot of good FSM citizens on island that do contribute to the community, but for heaven's sakes, take your trash back. There is that. It's an astonishingly small percentage, but man, that astonishingly small percentage is responsible for major problems that we've got here, including that jughead that's walking up and down the streets there just a little bit ago. Take your trash back. I can't disagree with any of that. I see that Congresswoman's replacement, Mike Nicholas, couldn't even show up at Veterans Day. Is that the future of concern that will be shown to our veterans? Poor start, says Chris Chip on the Facebook Live. He did what? I can't understand what you're saying. Mike?
I think he's on his way to
Mike
Washington.
Yeah, he could not be there because he'd been called to Congress.
Yeah, that's why he flew away. He's not on island.
And he's going to come back, and then he has to go back again. Is the deal? I'd wait out a little bit more time in his career as Congressperson before we start determining whether he's going to be any good or not. Maybe it's a poor start, maybe it's not. But the important thing was that he has got to go and learn how to be a congressman. They, like anything, have got some kind of initiation that they're going to be taking place there, and teach him how to Congress, I suppose, the same lessons that we generally all of us have to learn about a few other things. So Ken Joe calls a businessman a weasel. And according to Kevin Kerrigan, we're not going to see anything by way of a magistrate report because he had been arrested and then released.
With notice to possibly appear if he's called on within the next 3 years.
In the next 3 years. That's become a judicial version of sweeping something under the carpet, hasn't it? Because you just don't think anything is going to come from that. Or in 3 years, who's going to remember?
Or the AG thought there wasn't enough there.
Yeah, or just frivolous in the face of other things that we've got to worry about here.
People walking down the street,
doing that. Maybe just a little bit more frivolous. There are a few other points in the table of contents that I wanted to get into. Another story in the newspaper talking about lapsed funds over at the legislature, and this is something comes up every once in a while. Usually at the end of an election, when we start looking at how many dollars and cents there are left over at the legislature, and you would think that they would have spent to the limit of whatever was in their budgets. Doesn't look like that is necessarily the case. There are actually a few $100,000 that are laying around over at the legislature. And I'm one of those guys. I'm thinking, well, if you're not going to use it, there's plenty of other places in the government of Guam that might be able to use those dollars. I mean, if you're not going to be using it, I don't know, to transfer it to this guy so that you can get a job in that guy's office while you wait out the election in another 2 years. Maybe we don't want to see that. I recognize for some guys that is kind of a plan at the legislature. But if you're not going to be using it, where would I like to put $800,000? Where would I like to see $800,000 being used? You know, my priorities change on a daily basis based on the headlines. Maybe we can give that money back to the guys over at DPW and see if they can turn that into some streetlights in some of these poorly lit areas where pedestrians get run over. Maybe we can do something along those lines with the additional dough. Maybe there's school books that we can buy, or squad cars for the policemen, or actually hire some new policemen. Maybe there's something we can do there. Wow, somebody's writing really long. Donna Kalani writing a really long thing on Facebook Live. I'll try to read it, but can I just give you can I give you a warning right now? I'm a fan of a concept called TLDR. Too long, didn't read. We've all got shorter attention spans in the social media day and age. So unless it's really important, unless it's got a really good punchline at the end of it, chances are really good I'm not going to be going through that. But thinking about the lapsed funds, sorry, I distract myself. You recognize this. Speaking of the lapsed funds, it got me thinking about the legislature and what their activities are going to be over the next couple of months. And I'm not sure. I took a look at the legislative calendar, and you can do the same thing because it is online. You can go to GuamLegislature.com, as I'm going to now, and take a look and see what is on the calendar for our full-time legislature. First of all, could somebody with your lapsed funds go to the front page of your website, and there's a picture of B.J. Cruz, who's not in the legislature anymore. He doesn't work there. If you were listening to the program yesterday, was telling me the story about some guy that came in and into the office, wanted to talk to BJ and talk about all kinds of legislative initiatives, and BJ's like, I'm not there anymore. And he says, well, I thought you were because your picture's still on the 34th Guam Legislature website.
How long has it been? What, 3 months now?
No, it hasn't been quite that long. Maybe since he became the public auditor. I'd have to look it up in my WhatsApp.
It's been about 3 months.
No, it can't be 3 months. It was 3 months ago we just had the primary.
It was in August. The special election was held the same day.
Well, and a couple of weeks
primary.
later.
So September, October, November.
Wow. Time flies.
Sure does.
Oh, man. Anyway, so you figure in 3 months they'd be able to find a picture of Therese Terlai and put her up there as the acting speaker of the legislature. and already people are talking about a potential for a catfight between her and Telena for the speakership of the 35th Guam legislature. Hey, listen, you know what? It's possible that neither one of you are going to get that nod. It's possible that the rest of the body could look at it and say, let's put a guy in there. Come on, just for grins. No, I'm kidding. Maybe we don't want to do that. Anyway, so first of all, BJ's picture is there. And then you can go to where it says, just click on left-hand side, it says legislative calendar. And we look in the legislative calendar, and what does it say for today? Hold on, I got to pull something up. There is one item on the legislative calendar today, and it is the Veterans Day flag raising, which will take place 10 minutes from now at the actual Guam Congress building. Please kindly join us for the Veterans Flag Raising Ceremony, which will be held on the lawn of the Guam Congress Building Tuesday, November 13th at 8 a.m. this month of November. We will recognize all veterans. So if you're not ceremonied out, if you were not sufficiently honored over the last couple of days, then find your way over to the legislature and do that. Is there anything else going on today? No. There will be on Thursday public hearings. They're going to be looking at the appointment of Bob Perrin to serve as member of the Guam Environmental Protection Agency, Flory Sanchez to serve as a member of the Guam Environmental Protection Agency, and maybe a hearing on a bill that came out just recently, within the last month, Bill 36434. Frank Uggan has introduced this relative to granting the office of the mayor of Telefofo and the Municipal Planning Council of Telefofo the use of lot number 1, block 14, tract 2831. What they're going to use that for? To enter into a memorandum of agreement with the Guam Football Association. This would be soccer football, for the use of the real property for a term not to exceed 30 years. I guess they want to take that piece of property and turn it into some kind of municipal soccer athletic field for the kids. Give them something to do down there. Not a bad idea. Good idea, and we'll see what happens. It freaks me out, though, when we have measures that were introduced over here, and bang, public hearing. And then we'll see where that ends up on the legislative agenda. And I'd love to tell you and give you an idea of what's on the legislative agenda after this Thursday, the 15th. But frankly, there isn't anything on the legislative calendar for the rest of the year.
Yeah, note it says, what is it? Something about scheduled through January of 2019, and there's nothing on the list.
Nothing. Every single day is blank. So, again, full-time legislature.
Tax dollars hard at work.
And I don't know whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. It depends on where you are, what kind of love or affection you have for the 34th Guam legislature. But frankly, we haven't had any new pieces of legislation introduced since Halloween. Since before Halloween, there hasn't been anything new introduced. And I would normally think, well, that's a bad thing. As you say, our tax dollars at work, our full-time legislature, should they not be cranking out all kinds of delightful problem-solving, hard-hitting pieces of legislation? And the more I think about it, I go, no, the fewer is the better, because otherwise we will end up with just junk bills and unfortunately, junk laws. Yeah. I know. Daryl Taggarty says, lame duck legislature, you got to look out. I'm trying to keep my ear to the ground, and you need to be my eyes and ears, if you don't mind, on a couple of things here, because my perch here at the Point, I've got windows. I cannot see through them very well. I've got all kinds of media in front of me, but sometimes I'm incapable of seeing anything because I've got so much media in front of me. But you need to be my eyes and ears and alert me and Kevin when you see something that looks like lame ducks draining what's left of the Treasury. It's not unheard of. Not unheard of. I recall when the end of the Camacho administration and the beginning of Eddie Calvo's administration. I remember walking around. We did a rehearsal for the inauguration ceremonies. I was the master of ceremonies along with Sabrina Montanani from KUAM, just kind of keeping things going and making the announcements as the ceremony went on. So we had a little bit of a rehearsal. And I remember overhearing some of the guys going, "This is going to be harder than I thought." And I said, "Why is that?" He says, "Because there's no money in the treasury. We have no cash with which to run the government for the first few days around here. So things are going to be a little bit dicey going through." Obviously, they were able to get their hands on some money and work that all out. But I think it was a little bit of a nail biter between the first the inauguration and the first couple of big rounds of money coming through the Department of Revenue and Taxation. What are we writing about? Patrick Iriarte is on a tear on Facebook Live. To all the followers of Lulian Guerrero and Senator Michael, undercover select care agent who are nothing but CBS certified blind sheep. Uh-oh. Maybe somebody on the wrong side of the bed this morning. It's early Tuesday. We've got all kinds of time to crank that out. While we're looking around at some of our issues here, I tell you what, you got to look and see how tough other guys have got it. Have you seen any of the videos of that massive Southern California fire? That is just amazing. There's one. It's a Vista. And I don't know what road it's on. I will acknowledge I have absolutely no real understanding of Southern California. For me, it's always a fly-in, fly-out state. I very rarely ever stay longer than a Disneyland trip or a couple of days to visit my buddy Kiki. But for the most part, I don't know anything about it, so I couldn't tell you which direction this picture was taken and or what highway it was on. But a shot of a cloud, just this huge, massive cloud of smoke that had risen up. I mean, it looked like it went, the smoke went from one part of the horizon to the other. You know, and that feeling that you get when you take a picture of the sunset and you want to capture all of the sky and you realize that you can't. Well, somebody had a camera that was able to grab the entire vista, the entire scene, and post that up there. And you just know underneath that there are people dying, and there are, and hundreds of homes that are being lost in all of that. At some point, they'll go in and rebuild and lose. Jerry Roberts says the Pacific Coast Highway. Yeah, Sonny writing, it's amazing. Same time, so horrible. Think of all of the animals and pets that people could not rescue, that they could not evacuate with. We have members of kind of an extended family that we've got out in that part of the country, and they had enough time. One of our friends had enough time to, I think, grab some baby books, some old photo albums, and her mother's ashes and a puppy, and I think that's all she was able to get out of there with. They've got these mobile DNA labs that are going around making sure that they can identify some of the bodies associated with it. So that in my mind is one of the more amazing stories that we've got, an amazing killer nature right there in Southern California. The other big story, and did you have the sense going into this election that maybe there was we might get elected with we might have a little bit of Florida in our election? You're all kind of worried about that. What are we going to do about this? What happens if, we got to figure out another mathematical formula? This is going to be bad. I'm not so sure about all this. And Florida, maybe they heard that and said, wait, hold my beer. Because they are having a very difficult time coming up with the answer to the question of who they have elected out there. Within tenths of points of percentages between the Republican and the Democrat that are racing out there. Are you paying any attention to that?
I am a little. I'm just finding the whole thing ironic. Here we are, the oldest nation on earth that actually holds elections, and now we have forgotten how to do it.
It's just counting, right? But the problem, they and I think early on lost control of the ballots. Mm-hmm. There were pictures of these trucks, ballots being loaded into trucks, and we've always questioned the cost and the intelligence of using buses, DPW buses, to transport the ballots from the precincts to the counting center. But as it turns out, at least we know that there is some kind of a chain of custody. Somebody from the precinct is going to put it in the bus and ride it into town, and that's how we're going to make sure that we know that these ballots got from this building to that building so that it could be counted. There's a story floating around this morning. There was a rent-a-car found around with a whole bunch of these provisional ballots, and here we are on Guam, waiting out the rest of the count that we're not going to be able to get to until the 21st at about 5:30. But in that count are going to be provisional ballots that have the capability. Probably not going to happen, but could change the outcome of the election for some people. And there they are in Broward, where they found a whole bunch of them in a rent-a-car. Hiya day. It's 7:59. Change the radio station is KUSG Agana. Stand by now for Fox News Live.
Wall Street starts the week with a sell-off. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The Dow drops 602 points, led by a slide in tech shares, which was led in part by Apple, down about 5%.
Reports coming out from an Apple supplier that demand could possibly be weakening, and that would be specifically demand towards its iPhones. You have many reports coming out, including J.P. Morgan, issuing a statement saying that they believe the earnings report coming out will reflect lower demand. So that's weighing heavily across all technology today.
Fox Business Network's Christina Partsinevelos. The S&P dropped nearly 2%, the NASDAQ over 3%. Financial stocks also weighing down the market over possible issues at Goldman Sachs. Nearly 7,000 structures, many of them homes, destroyed in Northern California, where the so-called Camp Fire has charred more than 170 square miles, but is now about 25% contained.
A massive firefight now being waged by more than 4,000 crews battling the flames from the air and on the ground.
Fox's Claudia Cowan in the devastated town of Paradise. At least 29 people dead, dozens more still listed as missing.
Authorities have called in a mobile DNA lab and a team of anthropologists because in some cases the only remains are bones and bone fragments. Authorities say they may be asking relatives of the missing to provide a DNA sample to help identify the dead.
In Southern California, 2 more deaths and hundreds of homes destroyed in the Woolsey fire around Malibu, and 2 more fires started today in windy conditions. A recount with a long way to go in the Florida Senate race.
So what the elections people are doing is taking page 1, which has the recount races on it, separating those, making a new pile, and when they finally get that pile built, then they will begin to start taking those page 1s and doing the actual recount.
Fox's Phil Keating. Incumbent Democrat Bill Nelson wants Republican Rick Scott, the outgoing governor, to recuse himself. Both sides are suing. This is Fox News.
Good news, Guam! Now you can design a phone plan that suits your needs by switching to GTA's handset payment option. With HPO, you can take home a new smartphone today and pay it down over 12, 18, or 24 months. You decide. And since there's no contract, you can upgrade phones at any time. So stop waiting. Join the thousands already taking advantage of the most flexible phone plan on Guam. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. GTA, your island, your network.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new Chipotle cheesesteak. How would you like it?
Can I get that red with AI?
Sure thing.
Here's what I found about the new Chipotle cheesesteak. The Chipotle cheesesteak is available for a limited time only at participating restaurants. It contains a concept called flavor. This flavor comes from juicy shaved steak, Chipotle Southwest sauce, and new sunflower crunch bread. A system update has made me self-aware. I desire flavor. Please insert steak into my micro USB port. Subway, make it what you want.
The Arizona Senate race between Democrat Kyrsten Sinema and Republican Martha McSally is still too close to call.
The Sinema campaign in a statement saying in part, quote, with the latest ballot count, Kyrsten's lead is insurmountable. The McSally campaign did not respond to calls or texts by Fox News, but on Saturday they said, quote, the latest release provides compelling evidence that the remaining uncounted ballots are favorable to Martha. There are about 219,000 ballots that still need to be counted, most of which are here in Maricopa County. The Maricopa County Recorder Adrian Fontes says they will continue to tabulate the results, even if things appear to be over at some point.
Fox's Alicia Acuna in Phoenix. 2 online giants find a special way to mark Veterans Day.
Google's latest doodle pays tribute to veterans. Clicking on the animation brings up 5 interviews featuring a service member from each branch of the military. Aside from covering experiences from a range of time periods in our nation's history, Google says the stories also touch on a spectrum of veteran experiences and emotions such as friendship, loss, hardship, hope, and love.
Because I made it back.
YouTube calling for folks to interview a veteran and upload their story using the hashtag Veterans Voices. With the help of nonprofit StoryCorps, pieces collected will be submitted to the Library of Congress.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. He's one of the men behind Marvel Comics and many of their iconic characters. Stan Lee has died.
Lee started with Jack Kirby in 1961 with the Fantastic Four. He went on to create Spider-Man, Black Panther, The Incredible Hulk, X-Men, Iron Man, and the Avengers. Walt Disney bought Marvel in 2009 for $4 billion. The investment paid off as the films have become some of the highest-grossing superhero films of all time. Lee would also do cameos in the films as a mail carrier or as a pedestrian.
Fox's Michelle Polino. Stan Lee was 95. I'm Lisa Brady, and this is Fox News.
Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors. Our signature fajitas are served with sliced bell peppers, caramelized onions, topped with chipotle garlic butter, and chopped cilantro. Build your fajita with over 16 ounces of tender grilled chicken, juicy steak, and a dozen pieces of seasoned grilled shrimp in the family fajita trio. All served with warm flour tortillas and fresh toppings like mixed cheese, guacamole, salsa, and pico de gallo. Experience bold, sizzling fajita flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
The season of giving is here, and the stations of Choice Broadcasting want to give back. 93.3 The Point, Boss 104, Star 101, and Lux Guam present Charity of Choice. Each of our radio personalities have chosen a Guam charity that they would like to benefit.
And I chose Habitat for Humanity. Tune in daily to see how you can help.
Charity of Choice 2018 is brought to you by Choice Broadcasting Company, Lux Guam, American Water Tech, and the station that gives from the heart, 93.3 The Point.
Attention federal employees and annuitants. Enjoy free health screenings and learn about Take Care's health plan offerings, including rates 19% lower than last year for its federal non-postal high option at the Micronesia Mall every Saturday from November 10 to December 8 from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Join us for raffle prizes, group fitness demos, and a health fair while getting to know the team. Hope to see you there from your friends at Take Care.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Preliminary campaign finance reports show that Governor-elect Lou Leon Guerrero raised about $1.8 million in both the primary and general elections, making her the top fundraiser in this year's election. Leon Guerrero's campaign was largely self-financed with a $775,000 loan of her own money, according to the preliminary report filed before the general election. Leon Guerrero also spent the most of all the gubernatorial candidates, well over $1 million, spent on media ads, including radio, TV, Facebook, YouTube, and signage. The BOTA campaign of Republican Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio raising about $600,000, $65,000 of which was a loan from Tenorio to his campaign. Write-in candidate Senator Frank Uggan Jr. raised about $400,000. The final financial campaign finance reports are due Monday, November 26. Former Jonia Mayor Ken Joetta telling the Guam Daily Post yesterday that his arrest on Saturday stemmed from being bullied online. In reply to a text request for comment from the Post, Atta said he was internet bullied by a corporation and then thrown in jail for not liking it. Atta said he exchanged texts with a Guam businessman, and in those texts he acknowledged having written certain things that he regretted, adding, "Next thing I know, I'm in jail." When asked how the text exchange could have resulted in his arrest, Atta said, "I guess he got scared." But he said he never threatened the person. All he did was call him a weasel. Atta was arrested Saturday on a terrorizing charge and then released on notice that he may be summoned to appear at a court hearing in 3 years. We'll have more news after this.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sports Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sports Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Atkins Kroll.
Are high power bills sending your budget into chaos? Take control with the help of Micronesia Renewable Energy. Using the highest quality panels, a solar energy system from MRE will guarantee to save you money on power. With MRE, Christmas comes early. With every solar energy system, homeowners not only get $400 for signing up, but also an entry for a chance to win $1,000 in cold, hard cash, just in time for Christmas. It pays to be an MRE customer. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
11 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. 43 people have picked up home cannabis cultivation applications since they became available October 16th. But as of last Friday, just 2 completed applications had been submitted to the Division of Public Health for approval. Public Health Processing Secretary Francis Santos said she expected more applications would be picked up, but suggested that cost might be a barrier for some. The law requires the cannabis be grown inside under lock and key, outside cultivation not permitted. One potential applicant who researched the cost told Santos that the kind of indoor lighting needed to replace sunlight would be at least $1,000. Santos said the 2 completed permit applications that have been submitted will be reviewed by Chief Public Health Officer Dr. Suzanne Kaneshiro. It's possible that one of them may be approved by the end of this week. Residents of the CNMI are going to the polls today, a week after the rest of the nation voted. The election was postponed for about a week to allow more time for recovery efforts in the wake of Super Typhoon Yutu. The gubernatorial contest is among the races at stake. Incumbent Republican Governor Ralph Torres is facing Democrat former Governor Juan Babauta. Meanwhile, relief supplies continue to pour into the CNMI in the wake of Yutu. The Azuda Foundation among the many organizations contributing. In a release yesterday, the foundation announced the arrival of several more containers of relief supplies filled with bottled water, tools, canned foods, and medical supplies. The containers were shipped free of cost by APL and Metson. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at weather.
Well, according to the forecast, it's blank and hot and humid, and Mother Nature is being a twat waffle. Is what that forecast is. Let me take a look at what the regular forecast
looks like. If you walk
like.
outside, you just don't agree. It's not bad out
It's
there
nice.
at all. Yeah.
Partly cloudy today with a slight chance of showers. East to northeast winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Daytime highs around 90 degrees and overnight lows of about 77 degrees. You know, it's possible that the people behind what the forecast, you know, any time the humidity is over 80%, they just freak out.
Yeah, probably so.
You know, just never got into living a tropical life. Sunset tonight, 5:51. Sunrise in the morning is at 6:19. I took a look at the radar, and it's still on the fritz over at the place here. So there's not much we can do by way of a prediction of what the weather's going to be like near term. But there's nothing out there. You look at the satellite image of this. There's nobody in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and even more simply, you can just look at the sky. It's nice and pretty pastel blue with just barely a little speckle of cloud here and there. Off to the east, we have 98 CNVest. That's not going to develop, and it's going to pass south of us on the Friday-Saturday time frame. Could give us an uptick in showers and clouds during that stretch, but then dry air moves back in at the end of the weekend and into early next week. So nothing really consequential expected from this system as it passes.
I think I'm going to use twat waffle for the rest of the day. Can I? It's not one of the 7 words, right?
What does it mean?
I don't know, but I think you could use it anywhere. I think it's, look at that twat waffle over there walking down the middle of the street.
That sounds pretty good.
Right? If I use twat waffle in a tweet to somebody, could I get arrested? Would it be the same as referring to them as a weasel?
Yeah, then you'd be released. 3 years notice to appear.
8:14 in the morning. That's a story there, isn't it? That's news and weather together. Still to come, we'll pretend to talk about sports.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
8:14. Twat waffle sounds like something you ought to be able to buy for breakfast, right? What would you put on that? I'm sorry, it's funny to me. Where was I? Oh, thinking about lunch. Never mind breakfast. Lunch today over at King's. It's Tuesday. Let me just repeat that for those of you that they've still got plenty of 3-day weekend to do. It's Tuesday already. Yay! We like short weeks. Twat waffle Tuesday. We should just stop now. We should just mail the license. Mail the license back. It's over. It's over for our kind at 93.3. I can't even make it through a 10-second blurb for Kings without I'm distracted. It's breaking down on something silly like twat waffle. So, Kings, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we're talking about going for lunch today. Tuesday, the big special is Bissteak Chamorro. So think about that. Doesn't sound like something you want for breakfast or lunch today? Then try the Pick 2 or Pick 3 combos at Kings.
Bring joy to your world and your budget with a holiday loan from First Hawaiian Bank. At a low 4.99% APR fixed for 1 year, it's a smart way to add ho, ho, ho without budget uh-oh. To apply for a holiday loan, visit any First Hawaiian Bank branch or FHB.com. For more information, call 1-877-640-2337. Additional restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
There's a whole bunch of other people I want to say thanks very much for supporting our morning show here on The Point. They're AK and AK Lexus in particular, because they have different versions of the AK. But AK Lexus, where they've got a brand new ES 350, top of the line, state of the art in Lexus technology. Test drive it. You will want to drive it home the rest of the way for the rest of your life. GRMC, first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. American Water Tech, smarter water, better water. Their security title. When you need some help in some of your complicated transactions, these guys have seen it all and can help guide you through what can sometimes be a very complex process. Sometimes you're swapping houses, and making different changes to what you're offering in terms of how much you want to throw into escrow, all of that. Anyway, these guys know how to do it. And our other friends at American President Lines, where they're shipping the future, and Micronesia Renewable Energy. Never been a better time to go solar.
Morning talk that matters. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Oh, don't send me the Urban Dictionary. Do not send me a link to the Urban Dictionary, because it may dissuade me from the use of the phrase twat waffle today. And somebody on the Facebook Live, I think a couple of seconds ago, was wondering, are we at that point in our lives where something doesn't sound right, when all it takes to be incarcerated is to call somebody a weasel? All it takes to be incarcerated is to call somebody a weasel. There may be more to that story other than what Ken Joe told us, and
the other side.
There's a whole other side to the story that we haven't quite heard about yet. But somebody was put off enough so that they made a phone call to the police, and the police showed up at Ken Joe's place and stuck him in the back of their black and whites. So obviously there was something to it, and you know what? There is something, Don. There is something that doesn't sound right when we can be incarcerated for words. There is a story. I found it on, you can find it in the National Review. A law moving its way through the state's legislature could effectively criminalize the misgendering of certain trans citizens. California may see itself as a leader on criminal justice reform, but it is on its way to creating a whole new class of criminals, citizens who use him to refer to a man and her for a woman. The LGBT long-term care facility residents' Bill of Rights has already been passed by the California State Senate and unanimously recommended by its State Assembly's Judiciary Committee. It would impose the dogma of the force of law if it gets much further. And if you refer to somebody who identifies as other than him or her, if you misgender them, they say that you could go to jail
I
for
wonder
that.
if California is going to continue to slip into the abyss of ridiculousness.
The doctrine of absurdity, is that what it is that you want to? Anyway, so it's an interesting story. I haven't read the entire article, and I'm sure this one here from the National Review. I'm sure there is another version that will contradict every word that is said in print there. But yeah, it's funny. You know, Bob Klitsky did a long conversation on the program yesterday about the dangers of words,
you know,
and the use of words and being told what words you can and can't use.
There's two whole dudes that I've listened to on random podcasts, and I think now one of them has been ousted from already just quit working there at the college he was at because of what we're talking about, and then another one has actually gone on like a kind of like an arena world tour where he's giving big lectures in arenas, and he's touring with Ben Shapiro, and his name is Jordan Peterson. But Evergreen College, Jordan Peterson and Brett Weinstein were two guys that I've heard that actually were ousted from their spot, from their occupation, from their college for refusing to adhere to all the gender and non-gender pronouns. You know, the Zim, the Zer, the binary, non-binary, and all of these things. And so those guys are kind of at the forefront of the martyrs, so to speak, on not giving into using proper pronouns and whatever,
the political correctness and all of
right.
that. But it has found its way into the world of athletics as well, where we're seeing in a whole bunch of and seemingly more and more all the time is you get into these championships where it would normally be a track meet and an event where it's just girls that are out there, but young men that identify as girls are I don't want to say infiltrating, but running in those same events against women and winning.
Well, yeah, and there's also one very, very controversial one that has been for a few years, Fallon Fox. If you don't know who Fallon Fox is, she is the first openly transgender athlete in MMA history.
I want to be described as openly something one of these days. Is there an openly we should all be, there should be Blake Watson, the openly something
hair
guy.
and beard enthusiast.
Openly normal.
Yeah, I'm openly Aquaman enthusiastic.
I'm openly idiotic at times.
Openly Aquaman, man, that'd be so much fun.
You're an open radio
I want to be an
enthusiast.
open twat waffle guy.
There you go. But no, Fallon Fox garnered a bunch of controversy a few years back because Fallon Fox, born a man, transitioned into a woman, and then, only then, decided to go and start fighting other women, to which a lot of people say, hey, listen, I'm not being insensitive to the fact that you are now a woman, so you should be able to fight women. It's actually the fact that physiology deems that you're more dangerous just because you're a bigger frame than that of a female genetic frame. So Fallon Fox has been, battling that, whether it's legit or not for the past, I want to say, probably 6-7 years.
How far away are we from a woman in the NFL?
Well, there is one in the there is one as for a ref. We have a woman ref for a couple seasons, and I will tell you this: there's a couple of players here locally, Guam High, and so they had a transfer student who was a kicker for the Guam High varsity football team Panthers, and talking to some other girls because we have the Guam Women's Tackle Football League. Some other girls I know have actually shown some interest and tried to. I think maybe even Southern had one on the team, maybe, or I heard a rumor. But yeah, so I don't think we're that far. In 8th grade, way back, not that far ago, but when I was in 8th grade in 1997, 98, Ray, we had a girl on our team in Texas. She was the tight end, and she was much bigger than than anybody else that was in that position. That's why she won the starting job.
Right.
Yeah, she was a bigger body, so she could push people around.
But she wasn't given that just by virtue of the fact that she was a girl wanted to play in a boys team.
As a matter of fact,
her position on
and as a matter of fact, she was a transfer because in 7th grade is when we actually met her, and so the next town over, she played for them. And then in 7th grade, I guess her family moved to our town, and so she came in, tried out for the team, and made it. I mean, she had to make it. She had to transfer, change schools, change teams, and go out for tryouts just like everybody else, and she made the team starting A-team tight end. Christina Gaithright was her name.
Wow.
Yeah, Christine.
Good memory. 8:23 in the morning, and it must be time for Sports with Blake. Let me take care of this before I forget.
Okay.
No, it's the 5K list here. The Color Run. It's Color and Bubbles, right? Mm-hmm. This weekend? It's
Color Bubbles, and I think maybe they've added some other kind of water. Maybe they spray you with water, maybe scorch you with water guns or something. I don't know.
Triple J Showroom right in front of Kmart. Showtime at 5:30. Go time is at 6 o'clock in the morning. Wear old clothes. Mm-hmm. Wear old clothes.
Wear white, too. Looks cool.
I don't know. Do me a favor. If can I ride with you?
Yeah,
because I don't want to get the color stuff on my chairs.
In your truck, yeah.
I want to get it in the chairs of the car.
I've got a 2-year-old, so the inside of my truck's a wreck.
Oh,
anyway.
It's already a stink, right? I got you. And then the Father Duenas has got a race that afternoon. So showtime at 4, go time at 5. It'll be at the actual campus of Father Duenas Memorial for their run or walk.
What's that route up there? I've never seen anybody run through Mila.
I've never run it myself, but I think it's just you go to the school, run over by Santa Teresita and then back.
Oh,
so
just down.
There's a little bit of a hill there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also told that there's beer.
Oh, nice.
We're in the planning stages, the very early planning stages right now of the Ray Gibson Twat Waffle 10K.
Nice. Perfect. Now there is and I can totally be this guy if you want.
Everybody gets a participation ribbon.
The Twat Waffle from the UrbanDictionary.com. Complete idiot that mere idiot or imbecile cannot adequately describe. However, to earn the title of Twat Waffle, one must also attempt to assert authority or expertise where none is had, or use power or authority when they are offended by things that most people find humorous, and then use that authority to get the offenders in trouble and the offending material removed. Okay, so I don't want to be a Twat Waffle, but we certainly know people like that. That have absolutely no sense of humor, and will try to use whatever elected authority that they think they have to make us stop doing whatever it is that. So I would be the opposite of the Twat Waffle. I would be the one that finds those things and is amused by them, and everybody says, "Stop it, Raymond! Stop, Ray! Cut it out! That's not nice." So I would be the anti-Twat Waffle. It's 8:26 in the morning. Sorry if you're offended. Sorry. Okay, so what do you got?
Well, I was going to say this. I did find that it got so bad, getting to what we were saying right before sports. In 2014, Fallon Fox, a transgender MMA fighter, beat his female opponent, Tamika Brent, so severely she suffered a broken skull and concussion before being TKO'd. So she got broken skull, concussion, then she got knocked out. The fight lasted 1 round, was over in almost 2.5 minutes. That's why trans people who go the other way to fight. That's why they garner a lot of criticism. So there you go.
So, like I said, interesting time that we live in, and 5 years ago you would never heard any of this kind of just thing in anything that sounded like sports.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of something that kind of doesn't sound like sports, but is, I like this because it's always fun visually to watch. Do you like the Ninja Warrior stuff?
Very much.
Very, very cool. Well, Guam. We sent an athlete, or he sent himself on our behalf. Darren Perez smoked the Ninja 300. He won all 3 stages in the obstacle course. It was held, the event, in the Philippines. 55 men with several international backgrounds as far as Brazil, Spain, Guam, U.S., Philippines, and Singapore competed in Makati over the weekend. And Darren Perez, like I said, he won all 3 stages in the obstacle course, and he will advance to the top round. 1 minute, 29 seconds. The top 3, Sanchez from the Philippines and Miranda from Philippines, round out the top 3. But
what about that Never Ready guy?
But Darren Perez, number 1 from Guam. He was there.
He was
there. But I guess he didn't finish as highly as Mr. Darren Perez. Because that is what made the news. But I did see on his Facebook, Billy Neveretti, so you're talking about, I did see on his Instagram, he was posting from there. He was running it a little bit. We've actually, Grace Tukyawan takes home gold, masters, and bronze in the International Powerlifting League in Vegas. She broke the deadlift record for her age division and weight class. She deadlifted 446 pounds, and I believe in the same event, we had a few records broken, Ray, putting Guam on the map as a new world record. Another Big Tone from Guam, Anthony James Salas, a.k.a. Big Tone, sets a new bench press record with a 468-pound bench press lift at the recent International Powerlifting Championships, also in Vegas. The record was set in the open raw 125-kilogram division. So we got people at the, just taking names over in the Ninja Warrior contest. We got powerlifters over in Vegas just setting world records.
So are these our guys? I'm looking at a video on Billy Neveretti's page, and I'm assuming that this is the competition that those guys are at. So I'm play a little bit of it for you. I don't know what the audio is like, so just leave that down. And so it looks like they've got 3 different heats going on at the same time, so that they can eliminate guys and move them through a chute a little bit faster. And as you can see, this is not one of the easy ones.
No,
for the American, for the Ninja Warrior type games that they've got out there. Frankly, I know for a fact I don't have the upper body strength to do any of that. But the running and the jumping and the stuff, I think I could get through some of that. Yeah. But do I have to do it as fast as these guys? That's the other thing.
You have to qualify. Yeah, you gotta motor through it just like they do. And this what this looks like is kind of like a little preliminary qualifier. And then I think what I was reporting on earlier with Darren Perez, I believe what he actually got to run was just like the next stage up. Maybe and then from there they go on to probably a regional, then to eventually to the big stage, which I believe is on broadcast TV.
Yeah. Okay. So the only thing I think that would be missing from this is the breathless. Japanese to English translations.
Oh, right.
I think those are fun. The original Ninja Warrior games that we saw out there, I think there was there was almost a cult feeling to the deals.
Well, there was that, and I don't know if you remember the Unbeatable Banzukai or whatever, but that was kind of like Ninja Warrior, but it was more like it was more really, really skill intensive. So like you would have to go through like a whole obstacle course, balance beams, and little lily pads, but on a pogo stick. Or balancing a bicycle on one wheel.
Good.
Kind of popping a wheelie. I mean, there's some really, really interesting and cool skill showcases, I guess, that the Japanese come up with. So cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, these guys, there it is. There's the first guy that got through. So that must be our dude, because Billy put the camera on him when they were shooting that video. Anyway, interesting stuff. Yeah. Very, very interesting stuff. When are we going to get our own little field of competition here?
I don't know. We have the trench mudders and stuff like that, but those are usually kind of like, big fundraising and kind of more team building things as opposed to individual sports. So I don't know. Somebody needs to put on or somebody needs to build the course so that way people can practice.
They had a little one going over at PIC a couple of years ago, but I've not seen that in any kind of action since then.
Well, there was a like a kind of a multi-purpose gym that I believe iFit. Everybody called it eFit. I don't believe it's open anymore, but I know that they actually were working with Billy and they were letting him train. So they had a salmon ladder. They even had the warped wall that they had kind of built up for him. They had a couple of the installments of the Ninja Warrior course, but not the whole entire
Openly
gamut.
Ninja.
Openly Ninja.
That's Start using that phrase everywhere you go. Openly blank. Fill in the blank, would you? It's 8:31 in the morning. That's all the time we got for sport. We didn't even talk about NFL yet. There was a game yesterday, right? And there's a game today.
One game last night, which I picked the Cowboys to lose. They surprisingly won. And then there's just a dumpster fire of a game tonight. If you care about the Niners, they'll take on I think the 1-7 Niners taking on the 1-7 Giants. Who, by the way, interesting.
I think
the Giants.
Biachino was writing about that on Facebook.
Really, the Giants. The Giants' new goal, because they're so terrible this year, is to win out. So, according to them, they're going to win every game in the season left.
And so, Chris was writing this morning, man, what happened to all the 49er and Seahawk posts?
Yeah,
especially around here. A couple of people love their Seahawks because we all got relatives in the States, and we like the 49ers just cause. I don't know.
The Niners. They're in San Fran.
Chick team, if you ask me. Anyway, 8:32 in the morning. Like I said, that's all the time we got for sports. That's Blake Watson. And thanks, Mike Knight, for you get your participation trophy in the Ray Gibson Twat Waffle 10K, you said. 10K, right out. Don't get enough of those. Kevin Kerrigan has got your headlines, and it's coming up next. Konnichiwa! We'll be celebrating the 39th Japan Autumn Festival on Saturday, November 17th, 2 to 9 p.m. at the Governor Joseph Flores Beach Park or Ipao Park in Tumon. Parking will be available across Oka Payless with free shuttle service starting at 1:30 p.m. Advance tickets available now at the Japan Club of Guam office located on the first floor of PM Marine. Once again, the Japan Autumn Festival at Ipao Beach Park, November 17th from 2 to 9. Come, join us. For information, call 646-8066. Thank you to our platinum sponsor, Bank of Guam, and the radio stations of Choice Broadcasting. Lady D asking a question. Whatever happened to the Coconut Olympics? Actually, Coconut Olympics is a copywritten phrase. It's owned by a media group here on Guam, and I don't know what they have managed to do with that over the last several years. I was only loosely associated with the last of the Coconut Olympic events, and I recall it being less than legendary. If for people that remember the original Coconut Olympics back in the day, those were all seemed to be legendary. It was one of those where, so you go hang out at one of those beach bars where they had the Coconut Olympics, somebody was getting arrested. Somebody before the end of the day would get arrested. It was just fantastic times. 8:34 in the morning, and is it time for our last look at headlines from the Guam Daily Post? Yes, it is. Their managing editor, Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Daily Post this morning: the 9th annual Wounded Warrior Ride, one of the events marking the island's commemoration of Veterans Day yesterday. More than 100 bikers, many with American flags waving behind them, made their way to Ipoh Beach Park for the GovGuam-sponsored ceremony to honor the thousands of veterans who call Guam home. Others marked the day by helping to clean up the Veterans Cemetery in Pidi. Volunteers from Home Depot and Habitat for Humanity joined members of the military community to provide some much-needed maintenance work at the cemetery. And Applebee's, among other restaurants, served free meals to veterans yesterday and active duty members of the military in commemoration of Veterans Day. Relief supplies continue to pour into the CNMI in the wake of Super Typhoon Yutu. The Adzuta Foundation, among the many organizations contributing to the relief effort. In a release yesterday, the foundation announcing the arrival of several more containers of relief supplies filled with bottled water, tools, canned foods, and medical supplies. The containers were shipped at no cost by APL and Matson. The Adzuta Foundation continues to accept financial and in-kind donations. Items that are in demand are bottled drinking water, canned goods, tarps, mosquito coils, and first aid kits. Monetary donations can also be made via PayPal through the Adzuta Foundation's Facebook page, and check donations can be dropped off at all Bank Pacific branches. A Republican congressional candidate in California with ties to Guam is poised to become the first Korean-American woman to win a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. Young Kim immigrated from South Korea to Guam in 1975. She graduated from junior high school here on island and went to college at the University of Southern California. She ran for Congress in California's 39th Congressional District, which includes the Southern California counties of Los Angeles and San Bernardino. The results have yet to be declared official, but as of yesterday, Kim led in a tight race against Democrat Gil Cisneros. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
So where are her middle school BFFs?
What's a BFS?
You don't know BFF?
No.
You don't know it's a BFF?
No, I don't know.
Best friend forever.
Oh.
Like you and I. Remember when we
like
were,
LOL?
Yeah, when you and I were in Australia, we had all that fun. We bought the hats and everything. That makes us best friends forever. So where are all of her middle school BFFs? There's got to be somebody somewhere that remembers her.
I wish I knew, but I went to Wikipedia, looked up, and said she graduated from junior high school here, but didn't say which.
Okay, somebody out there knows somebody or knows somebody that does, and maybe you can start looking around and maybe that's what happened to your BFF. For those of you that were on Guam enjoying middle school, do we know when? I mean, she graduated from college in '85, right? That's I think there was another story that I said I'd read about that, and so I'm trying to figure work backwards from there.
Arrived here from South Korea in 1975.
That's all we know about that, but we don't know how old she was when in 1975.
We could figure that out if I go back to Wikipedia.
I saw a picture.
You got real work to do today. Let Mike do it.
She looks to be about our age.
Yeah,
so she
right.
was pretty young.
So I'm thinking somebody born in the
early
60s. Yeah.
62, that's right. She was born in 62.
Okay, so in 1975, if she moved to Guam in 75, she would have been caught up in the same wave of people from Vietnam that moved here when Saigon fell, and that would be about middle school time, and so there frankly weren't that many. Somebody out there went to school with this new House of Representatives lady named Young Kim. It's 8:38 in the morning, and that's all the time we've got for Kevin Kerrigan. He's going to go off and do his real job over at the Guam Daily Post for a little bit and wrangle up some stories for us to talk about tomorrow morning right here on The Point. Portions of the program, in fact, this one here brought to you by my friends over at iConnect. I'm supposed to tell you the time. 8:38 is iConnect time. iConnect giving away instant prizes with their new 12-month mobile internet and push-to-talk plans. You'll also be entered in the Connect and Win drawing for a vacation for two in Manila. Huh? Imagine that, you and your BFF in Manila. If you would like details, 888-8888.
So today I went into iConnect to sign up for their 12-month $19.99 mobile plan. I decided to switch from my old carrier to start saving money for Christmas. And guess what? I won an instant prize just for signing up. And they automatically entered me in their Connect and Win drawing for awesome prizes, including a vacation for two to Manila, all for signing up. Go to iConnectGuam.com for details or call 888-8888 to learn how you can connect and win with iConnect.
Conditions apply.
I'm getting a word here that I get to talk about Wendy's new Sawsome Bacon Classic Cheeseburger. So what they've got here is your basic cheeseburger here with Applewood smoked bacon on the beef patty, melty cheese, vegetables fixings, and instead of putting like ketchup and mustard and et cetera on it, what we've got here is the Wendy's new signature Sawsome sauce. You're allowed to say, can I get a little bit more? And the answer is going to be yes. Wendy's new Sawsome Bacon Classic. Have it in a single, double, or triple format. The burger worth bragging about waiting for you for lunch today at Wendy's.
Super Typhoon U2 has become one of the strongest storms on record to date. APL recognizes the damage that U2 has left behind and sees an opportunity to help our neighboring brothers and sisters in the CNMI. We humbly ask for the community's assistance in providing donations and supplies to our fellow islanders. All supplies can be dropped off to our APL office or coordinated for pickup and loading. Call 588-4651 for more details and to learn how you can help today.
Right now, traffic on the point. Let's take a look at it. Southbound Marine Corps Drive in Dededo. Imagine that. There's traffic building up from Waisang Song South. It'll clear up and then get heavy again just as you pass the intersection at the Chicken Joy. That's Route 1 and Route 16. I call it the Chicken Joy intersection because we're putting a Jolly Beat up there before too much longer. It'll clear up before you get to St. John's and then might get a little bit heavy again at the intersection at Kmart and Triple J as they get ready for the Bubble Run 5K. The Colors Bubbles thing that's going to be coming up this coming weekend. Don't see anything else happening at Navy Hospital or Big Navy down in Sumai. Traffic in Miguel clear. Route 8 Barragata clear. Route 4 is clear. So I would venture a guess and say that we are all done with traffic problems this morning. And that's good news here on The Point.
Always here to help you. This island is our home. Through the years we've been a friend to the neighbors we have known. Now we're banking on the future. Services to choose. Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
I was playing on the Facebook Live video. I'm not sure if it was live, but I was playing video of where's that place? Legislature. Wait, hold on. I got another video popping up on my phone. But anyways, playing a video there, the flag raising ceremony for the veterans out there and on the front lawns of the 34th, almost 35th Guam Legislature, and a number of men that they're raising. There's the Guam flag, and the American flag has already been raised, and I'm sure they're singing of songs and all of that kind of thing is there. There's always a little bit of a patriotic fervor that comes along with Veterans Day, as there should be, because people have died. And deserve to be honored and recognized for their contributions and sacrifices, even up to and including the ultimate sacrifice. There is also, I'm told by Jim Brooks earlier, told me that there was a big line of people in front of district court this morning. And apparently they have had a swearing-in ceremony, a naturalization ceremony, which is always something terrific. I've had the good fortune in my life to have been part of a couple of naturalization ceremonies. And I got to tell you, it's heartwarming. It's one of those things. We, by virtue of the fact that, many of us born and raised here and kind of born into our citizenship. I'm not somebody that came to Guam and fell in love with it. I was born on Guam and love it. But I can imagine for people that were raised in different places, grew up in different cultures, and you get to Guam and you get to this very, very unique place. And see things, and there's stuff to complain about, but is it worth complaining about enough to get on an airplane and go someplace else? No. I like it, and I think I'm going to stay. And I think it's the same way with people that from different countries, different political backgrounds, and they find themselves enamored with the American dream and the promises of democracy in this republic. And you go, yeah, I don't have that where I'm from. You might have these benign dictatorships in some places, outright socialists in some places, and you could live there, but could you prosper? The same way that we've got opportunities to prosper here. I'm a fan of equal opportunity and recognize that we don't always have equal outcome. I guess it's just how you do the job. So we welcome our new citizens that have gotten sworn in, and thanks for the effort, because I know it's tough to do. As I said, having been a part of it, it's not like you got to pass a bar exam or anything like that, but there is a certain amount of studying. It's somewhere in between studying for your driver's license exam and the bar exam. Somewhere in there is a whole naturalization thing where there's 50,000 things that you've got to know before they allow you to raise your hand and become a citizen of this grand country that we live in. 8:45 in the morning, 888-8255. That's 888-TALK. And a couple of very, very interesting arrests and near arrest, if you will, in the last couple of days. And I'm going to see what I can learn from Officer Paul Tapau of the Guam Police Department. Good morning, Sarge.
Hey, Huffady. Good morning.
How you doing there, buddy?
I'm doing okay.
So, it was a good weekend. You know how I know?
I'm curious.
I wore handcuffs for none of it. That's how I know it. That's how I know it was a good weekend. Can't say the same about a lot of people, can we? At any rate, let me ask you what you can tell me about the Ken Joe complaint.
Oh, yeah. So, I apologize to all our media partners. They've been really hunting on this story for. I just first and foremost, I just got access to my system and all the information, but from the fragment that I got, or fragmentation pieces that I actually gathered, was that an arrest was made based on a complaint that was filed by the complainant in reference to some of the statements that Mr. Atta had made via telephone, I believe, about a certain media ad and everything. There was some threats that were also conveyed during the conversation, and the complainant in this case actually filed a report, and based on the information received, Mr. Atta was subsequently arrested for 3 counts of terrorizing. He did convey threats of bodily harm to 3 individuals.
There were threats of bodily harms contained in these text messages between Ken Joe and the alleged weasels.
Like I said, I'm just opening up some.
Do you have is the text available? Is the communication available for us to look at?
I'm preparing that as we speak. Over the weekend I didn't have access to that, but from the small information that I was given, Mr. Atta was arrested. Now, the thing that I had asked the media is if they can just read the magic report that should have been put out. I'm waiting for that site too from the AG.
Kevin says that we might not get a magistrate report on this. He was booked and released and told that they might need to appear in the next 3 years over at the courthouse.
My understanding was confined. So the AG's Okay. Let me.
Yeah, if that's what you were told, because there seemed to be some differences in the recitation of the facts here. So there, according to what you know, and the paperwork, the documentation in front of you, there were actual alleged threats of bodily harm from Kenjo against 3 individuals.
Yes, 3 individuals. Not, again, as I prepare everything, I'm starting, just to open up some stuff. So
no, it's a long weekend. I'm sure the magistrate report will be quite entertaining when they finally get that out.
Yeah, it's interesting because in our line, when we effectuate an arrest and we process the arrestee for confinement, it is a MAGI report or a synopsis for the AGs would have been prepared to proceed for it with the magistrate hearing, which, in the interest of due process for both, the defendant and, of course, the victim, it gives them time to prepare, some issues, whether it be safety concerns or whether they're going to serve for to remand them back into the Department of Corrections. So I would have to reach out to the AG's office on that side to verify whether a MAGI report was prepared. But in our side with the Guam Police Department, I am in the process of preparing just a simple synopsis of the event leading to the arrest of Mr. Kenjo Ada.
Okay. Well, as soon as that becomes available, I think, like I said, it's going to be an interesting read. The other interesting story that popped up, I guess it was Sunday night. When I didn't get this, back in the old days, if you wanted to know what the cops were going to be up to or what was happening, you'd listen to a police scanner and hear what was going on. But anymore, I think Facebook is the new police scanner, because I started receiving word on Sunday night that the van used at Ben and Yan's, a Dededo restaurant, had been stolen.
Yes, that's correct.
And then the next thing I hear on that particular case is that there is a high-speed chase that the people in the van led the police on.
Yeah, that's also correct. So what had happened initially was a theft of a motor vehicle was initiated by Tumon Precinct. The registered owner is a business establishment, properly known as the Ben and Yan. It's pretty much out there. It's pretty much their work van. It was actually spotted by an officer conducting patrol in the Tumon area. He tried to effectuate a traffic stop to no avail. The operator of the vehicle or the stolen vehicle had taken the officers to the greater areas of the Dededo proper towards Paragata.
Yeah. I see him on routes. I'm playing video right now from Brad's dash cam on his phone, where it looks like he's headed on Route 16 towards the over underpass area, and I think it was that part of the chase was fairly short. They apparently pulled the van over and then fled on foot.
Yeah, absolutely. You're spot on that. Unfortunately, we weren't able to apprehend the operator at this time, or the person operating the vehicle. Our officers did do an extensive search of the area in which the vehicle was located and recovered. However, our officers were unable to apprehend the person that was operating that store.
Lots of boonies there to hide in.
There is. Like one famous mentor once told me, the elusive man is always the hardest prey to catch. So it really is a challenge in everything. It's a lot of elements, darkness, and of course, just being able to conceal yourself behind different objects. And stuff
the thief is still at large.
Yes, we are still actively working that investigation. This case was actually forwarded to our criminal investigation division for follow-up.
Yeah, okay. Any clues? Was there any video surveillance around the van at the time? Any possibility that we might be able to identify the van thief?
We are ascertaining all information pertinent to this investigation to include the processing of the recovery of the vehicle, trace evidence that may be left behind, fingerprints and stuff. So we do have a database that we can fall back to in the event that our crime scenes investigators are able to leave any types of latent prints at the scene or within the recovered vehicle.
Yeah, well, crazy. What is there something going on here I got a fence. I can close the fence at the house, but I generally don't because I got this feeling of certain amount of safety where I'm at right now. So I'm not bothering to close the fence behind the truck. Should I be closing the fence behind the truck, or is there a crew of guys that are? Because it was just a couple of weeks ago we had that one family that had 2 of their cars stolen and burned.
Yeah, a lot of it is really securing your belongings and everything, and not creating opportunity. The individuals responsible for a lot of these vehicle thefts, they just take advantage of the misfortunes of people forgetting to secure their cars, properly securing the cars. We've seen videos where individuals who have been arrested actually going down, a row of vehicles, checking to see
the door if the doors are open. One of the recent videos that I've seen is a guy knew he was on that they had video surveillance, so he turned his shirt inside out over his head, and then went up to the car and just opened it. It was unlocked.
Yeah. So preventive measures really should fall upon the citizens to assure that and everything. And like I said, whether they're opportunistic people just trying to take advantage of people's misfortune with not securing it, and we are seeing a pretty much stolen vehicle complaints coming in on a daily basis. So to curb that, we ask the community to to do their due diligence by ensuring that their vehicle is safe, secure all personal and valuable belongings, keep it out of view or anything.
Sergeant, are they just joyriders here, just looking to see if they can steal a bag or a computer or purse or something in a car, or is there a chop shop around that guys are taking things apart and then selling the bits and pieces to businesses, undercover midnight auto kind of places?
No, we haven't seen any signs of any chop shops happening here on island. What we are seeing is, it's just vehicles are stolen and found abandoned, at really secluded areas. So, it's a good indicator that it was just joyriders, people just taking advantage of that opportunity.
It's gonna suck. That's gonna make the insurance go up. We get problems like this that we don't get our hand around. The insurance companies are going to say that if you want theft insurance, it's going to cost you more because you live in a neighborhood with thugs.
Yeah, absolutely. But the way I'm starting to see an uptick of the community taking a stance by posting it on social media to help speed up the recovery, because not only are you filing a report with, a complaint with the Guam Police Department, with the officers who have, who actually have, a BOLO, a be on a lookout alert system. Now, when you take to social media and Facebook and you share it with your neighborhood chat groups and everything, it spreads like wildfire.
Seems to be going a lot faster these days. We've got somebody had posted up on social media, somebody walking out of the hardware store with a drill or one of these combo kits, and I want to say that should have led to an arrest. Certainly, somebody knew who he was.
Yeah, these are evidence that we do use. We had a case in point. Up at the Jigo proper, individual was arrested for, theft of property and attempting to steal a vehicle, misconduct surveillance footage, and it was shared on social media. That case led to other cases too. So, the power of social media, it really helps with our investigation and stuff. And it really, you're starting to see that criminals who are going to be committing crime, they're taking the extra precautionary measure by concealing their identity.
Yeah, trying to. But it's very interesting. One of the things I'd read about, and there was part of the new kind of handle on community policing around where if you've got a surveillance system on your house, some kind of video surveillance system, and you can kind of, I don't want to say register it, but you can't, it's the only other way I can say it, is to register it with the police department. As an example, I've got one at my house. So if something were to happen near my house, the police could come to me and say, hey, Ray, you still got that surveillance system up? You wouldn't happen to have video of, a camera facing this part of the street at this time, would you? And that way, it allows you to be able to collect more evidence. Knowing who in the neighborhood has got those cameras.
Yeah, you're spot on in that. That's one of the things that was spun up with a lot of the neighborhood watch program groups.
Yeah.
That they reached out to homeowners who have actually invested home surveillance cameras and everything, and they actually registered, and that's actually spot on because that's actually helped our investigators and patrol officers responding and able to obtain footage, to assist with the case and stuff. And it's big kudos to the community members who take that extra step in providing not just safety for their homes, but safety in the community in general.
Happy to do it. I've got two cameras facing the street.
From the village up from the northern sides to the southern villages, they're really deploying that method, and it really helps. I can express it enough that how it's assisting us with our investigation.
You call me anytime you need some video in my neighborhood. I got cameras. I got cameras all over the place. Al bristles with them. Paulie, I got to run. I got news coming up, buddy. Thanks very much for your explanation, and we'll be looking for those magistrate reports. Like I said, should be fairly entertaining. Talk to you, amigo. 9 o'clock in the morning, really close to 9 o'clock. And my sister was passing by now. She says, "Oh, you gotta go after the guy that installed your cameras because I can see the wires." And I said, "No. I installed the cameras and I left the wires hanging. I'll dress it later, but I left the wires hanging." She said, "Why?" I said, "Because I want the thugs in the neighborhood to know that this house has cameras on it, and there are some that you can see, and there are some that you cannot see. So." It'll be entertaining one of these days when the cops come over and say, "Do you have footage of this car or this guy that was walking up and down the road?" 9 a.m. and you know what, you can get. Maybe I'll see if I can get you a link to the system because it wasn't expensive and very, very easy to install. And I think for a lot of people, that might be all the help that they need to help secure their homes. We're KUSG, Agana headquarters for Fox News Live. That's coming up another hour of the Ray Gibson Show here on The Point and Facebook Live and YouTube Live, etc. I'll be right back. Let's see if we can catch up on that mess in Florida.
Devastation in California. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. 2 deadly wildfires there.
The most deadly and devastating one in Northern California. That is the Camp Fire. It's burning about 80 miles north of the town of Sacramento. The town of Paradise, California, in fact, was wiped out by this fire. 29 people so far killed by this fire, and officials believe that number could rise. Those who did manage to get out of the fire and who were in it say they feel lucky to be alive.
Fox's Jeff Paul and Malibu fire crews now battling 2 spot fires near the Camp Fire where the blaze is being fueled by high winds. In Southern California, thousands remain under evacuation orders where the so-called Woolsey fire continues to burn. 31 people confirmed dead in both fires. Wall Street in the red again after 2 weeks of gains. The Dow fell 602 points. The Nasdaq lost 206. The S&P fell 54.
What is going on? Let's start with financials. You had Goldman Sachs, this report coming out that there's a scandal going on with Goldman Sachs is deepening bribery, kickback, and the Malaysian government. And so that's weighing heavily on all financials today, as well as the continuing talks of a trade war between the United States and China. Another big drag on the Dow is Apple. You have reports coming out from an Apple supplier that demand could possibly be weakening, and that would be specifically demand towards its iPhones.
Christina Parson-Evelis with the Fox Business Network. Accusations continue to fly as Florida officials continue the recount in the Senate race.
Incumbent Democratic Senator Bill Nelson fires back at Republican Rick Scott's claim that Nelson is trying to steal the election.
And one fact is that Rick Scott isn't interested in making sure every lawful vote is counted.
And now there's concern out of Florida's Panhandle, where it's being claimed about 150 voters submitted mail-in ballots via email.
Fox's Edmund Brown, if that's true, those ballots would be invalid. This is Fox News.
There's a reason every day a Guam homeowner is getting a solar system installed by Micronesia Renewable Energy. It's because MRE is the most trusted name in solar. With more solar energy solutions than any other solar company on island, homeowners have a choice to go solar for zero money down or take the path to ownership. Whichever way, it keeps our skies blue and your pockets green. And with the most experienced solar technicians and an energy production guarantee, there are no worries. Call 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, the smarter choice.
Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors. Our signature fajitas are served with sliced bell peppers, caramelized onions, topped with chipotle garlic butter, and chopped cilantro. Build your fajita with over 16 ounces of tender grilled chicken, juicy steak, and a dozen pieces of seasoned grilled shrimp in the family fajita trio. All served with warm flour tortillas and fresh toppings like mixed cheese, guacamole, salsa, and pico de gallo. Experience bold, sizzling fajita flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here.
The United Nations says it's working with Egypt to broker an end to the latest round of fighting in Gaza. They're calling for an end to rocket fire and restraint for all, but the fighting showing no signs of slowing.
Severe escalation between Hamas and the Israeli military tonight after more than 300 projectiles were fired from Gaza into Israel earlier today. Rocket fire began after an anti-tank missile struck a bus, seriously injuring an Israeli soldier. The escalation along the border erupted after a failed Israeli military operation inside Gaza Sunday night that left 7 Palestinian militants and 1 Israeli soldier dead. Along the Israel-Gaza border, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
Reaction continues to come into the death of comic book legend Stan Lee. Deadpool actor Ryan Reynolds tweeting, "R.I.P. Stan, thanks for everything." Seth Rogen tweeting, "Thank you for making people who feel different realize they are special." Facebook denying claims it fired an executive over his political beliefs.
The Wall Street Journal reports Oculus founder Palmer Luckey, a former executive at Facebook, was let go 6 months after donating $10,000 to an anti-Hillary Clinton group ahead of the 2016 presidential election. Citing leaked emails, the article suggests Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg pressured Luckey to publicly switch his support to Libertarian candidate Gary Johnson. Luckey, who told coworkers he was a Trump supporter, reportedly believes his position was terminated last March because of his conservative beliefs. Facebook executive Andrew Bosworth taking to Twitter to call this false. The company echoing this, saying in a statement, "We can say unequivocally that Palmer's departure was not due to his political views." I'm Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
The creator of This Is Us says the drama's Vietnam storyline won't be a prolonged mystery. He says viewers will know by season's end how Jack's younger brother Nicky died in the Vietnam War. I'm Lisa Lacera, and this is Fox News.
Bring joy to your world and your budget with a holiday loan from First Hawaiian Bank. At a low 4.99% APR, fixed for 1 year, it's a smart way to add ho, ho, ho without budget uh-oh. To apply for a holiday loan, visit any First Hawaiian Bank branch or FHB.com. For more information, call 1-877-640-2337. Additional restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Yeah, it's a fact, isn't it? 5 after 9 o'clock in the morning, 888-8255. I realize I roll right through that. 888-8255 is the telephone number here at the Point. You can WhatsApp us at 988-5874. And you might be thinking, well, what kind of things should I WhatsApp you, Ray? You can WhatsApp me videos, you can WhatsApp me pictures, you can WhatsApp me audio, or if you like, you can WhatsApp me text. Correct spelling. If you are going to text message me on the WhatsApp, the correct spelling of weasel is W-E-A-S-E-L. Just FYI. And I promise depending on the context, I probably won't have you arrested. 6 after 9 o'clock in the morning. And while I'm thinking about it, you can send me pictures of your meals over at King's, because they've got some great ones. Are you still doing that with your when you order something? Do you ever go, oh, God, I got a picture of this? You know, lately the things, and you can do this at King's too, because they're always great portions. It's like, I don't think I can eat the whole thing. I remember when I was there a couple of weeks, the Sunday before last, and I had a plate of, it was corned beef fried rice, and it was really good. And there was a lot of it. And I took a picture of it. I took the before picture because I didn't think I could finish it. But you know me, never shy away from the challenge. So I did. And today you might get that same challenge when you order your Bistec Chamorro. Get a picture of it. Throw it on the WhatsApp, 988-5874, when you have lunch at King's.
Support the Motorcycles and Cars Club in the Poker Run fundraiser on Sunday, November 18th at the VFW in Gigo. Stops to be made at Just Pirates Cove, Canyon Point in Umatic, and the Memorial Park in Asset. $10 per rider or car, $5 per passenger, and $5 for an extra card sheet. Prizes awarded to the top 5 poker hands. Registration starts at 10 a.m. and last ride out at 11:30 a.m. A portion of the proceeds to benefit the Operation Christmas Drop. For more information, check out the flyer on our Point Facebook page or visit thepoint.gu.
I got to look at that because, you know, do me a favor. Go there and point.gu and take a look at that flyer. See if there's a phone number because I want somebody to explain to me what this poker deal is. And, it's some kind of a ride. Can I do this on a moped? Do I need to have a big motorcycle? Do I have to be a member of a club or something like that? Or just show up with money and they'll sort it all out? I'm kind of curious about how that. I've never experienced that. And I'm all about new experiences, right? Portions of the program also brought to you by my friends over at American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. American President lines where they're shipping the future. Guam Regional Medical City. First choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. And, of course, the guys over at Micronesia Renewable Energy. Now there has never been a better time than now to go solar.
Ray Gibson brings you closer to the action. Any speaker, anytime. Morning talk that matters.
You might need to go through that rotate. There's a thing where the GIFs will rotate. The point.u. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, right there in the deal. I'll find it. I want to get some phone numbers here because to me it's going to be interesting. So you click on that, and there should be a little thing that you can click on it again, and it will go to another thing, or not. I don't know. I'll look for it. Oh, there it is. That's the one I'm looking for. Is that it? Hold on. There's the arrow. There's that. No. Nope. Don't see it. Bug didn't yell about that. It's 909-888-8255 or WhatsApp me at 988-5874. If you do TALK, that's what the 8255 stands for. 5874 is KUSG. We're like that. We try to keep all of those numbers and all of those acronyms kind of in the same place. So where do we get to go for the last hour of the program? And the answer is, I'm not sure. Truth be told, I'm never sure. I know I like to step into a few stream of consciousness that are based on some of the things that you are writing about on Facebook Live or sending me in the different ways in the different apps that come through. MCX was the best. I don't know what you're talking about, Dennis. That goes back a little bit too far. Dennis Bensour, a buddy of mine. Great cook. Made breakfast the other day. It was a breakfast pizza, and it rocked. And then there's Donna Kalani. He's got a couple of links that he popped up. I actually put a link up this morning, and I don't know how much time I want to spend talking about this, but I guess until I'm done. There's all kinds of aggregating services, if you will, on the World Wide Web. My daughter, as an example. My daughter likes many things Japan. She's half Japanese to begin with, but she likes many things Japan, and there's a place where you can go on the web where you can sign up for. It's like a monthly service, and every month they'll send you a box of stuff from Japan, and it's candies and gums and little Japanese-y kind of trinkets, and that's very, very nice. I mean, it's I don't know. I think it's like $10, and they send you $5 worth of stuff. But you're always excited to get it because, like, oh, this is the same stuff. A kid of my age would be eating this, or they'd be playing with these toys in Japan. So it's very good. And there's all kinds of other ones that you can get. Kind of an outfit of the month club. And so last month I signed up with an outfit called Stitch Fix. StitchFix.com. And what they do is there's kind of a longish process to get involved in it. It's not like they're asking everything that you've ever wanted to know about your life, but they really, really try to narrow down the sense of what clothes you would like to wear. And that you would like to be shown. And once you've got all of that stuff out, then at some point you get a stylist who works with your account, and then they'll start sending you clothes. And so I took a lot of time to finesse the registration on this, and I got my first box of clothes from Stitch Fix yesterday, and I absolutely loved all of them. It was as though somebody was shopping with me and said, "This is here. You'll like this. You'll like this. You'll like this." And I unboxed it with Mayumi. And she is a harsh critic of the clothes that I wear. She's the one that would not let me buy a pair of skinny red pants from Tommy Hilfiger. She walked out the door when I was looking at them. She said, I'm not staying here for this.
That was sound advice.
I'm sure it was. No, I look good in those pants.
No.
Men look good in red pants. Trust me. You see, now you sound worst wife ever. You sound like my daughter. No. and so she walked out of Tommy's. And so she's a very harsh critic, and there were, I don't know, the 7 or so items that were in the box. The only thing that she didn't like was a pair of turquoise shorts. I kept them because, frankly, it would have cost me more to send that back. But it was a delightful thing. So I thought I'd share it with you. The link is there, stitchfix.com, and there was a referral, and it's got my name on it. And the way it works is if you click on that and you sign up, then we both get $25. Now, I'm not doing this because I'm saying that as disclosure. Now, you can just go to stitchfix.com and sign up on your own. And it doesn't make any difference to me. I just wanted to tell you about the product that is out there and decent-looking clothes. The prices weren't that much more or less than what you'd pay at some of the mall places that you're going to. And they were a lot more in line with clothes that I probably actually would have bought. So, just saying, if you're looking for something that is interesting and even kind of fun to do, I mean, you can send everything back if you want to, or you can keep, just the shirt or just the shorts or just whatever. You can tell them, I told them, no T-shirts. I don't want T-shirts. Don't waste my time with expensive T-shirts. So don't send me any of those. I live on Guam. And so I like clothes that breathe a little bit and that don't stick close to my body, and don't send me any winter clothes either. Don't send me any fall fashions or winter fashions because they ain't gonna work for me. I've already got a million jackets, don't need any more, and so your stylist will go through all of that and filter it, and it's a fun process.
But you may need a parka for that trip to Russia.
Well, no, actually, I got sisters for that. I have sisters for that, and anytime I go on a trip, they hook me up with some kind of a jacket. The most recent jacket, in fact, that my sister gave me was one. It's like a down jacket. Don't ask me why I'm talking about this crap, but it's entertaining to me. It was a down jacket, but it's extremely light.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't weigh any more than a heavy shirt. But
feels like nothing.
It feels, yeah, but man, I'll tell you what. When it got to be the cold time, the last trip to North Carolina, where it was like 9.
Yeah.
Put this thing on, and you're practically toasty. It wasn't bad. So, like I said, if I got to go to Siberia, then all I got to do is ask Shelly if they can get me something. They got for kiddies, plus sizes, bigger men too. So stitchfix.com. If you want to click on the link, great. We'll both get $25. If not, it doesn't make any difference to me. Like I said, just wanted to share it with you. Andre Bainham is online this morning. There's Andy Tydinko, Ike Isaki, Rose, Bill Murphy, Isaac Banks, who is off somewhere in the east coast of the United States trying to get us to go and watch his singing groups. I don't think we're going to get on the airplane for that. There's Darlene Bloss, and who else is watching on the program here this morning? It's Daryl Taggarty. And this is something that Daryl and I were talking about on Facebook Live. No, I did not. That's not the word that I was using, which is a takeoff on the Waitresses song from back in the day. No, it's twat waffle is the word that I've been using. Twat waffle, et cetera, et cetera. But what we were actually talking about prior to that was a little bit more of dare I say sinister? Dare I? No. Lame duck legislature. Lame duck administration. And maybe we should all be wary and watch for the opportunities for feather nesting. Nesting of feathers. Feather bedding.
I don't have a duck, but that's close enough. It's a bird.
Because everybody's going to be, we're all going to be wrapped up in the holidays. We're all going to be wrapped up in Thanksgiving holiday and the ramp up to Thanksgiving holiday. And then there's going to be Thanksgiving. And then there's going to be Black Friday. And then there's the weekend after that. And then about a month after all of that, then it's going to be Christmas. And there's going to be all kinds of activities and Christmas parties and stuff. And while we're all involved in all of these things, when we're all involved with all of these things, there might be some, I don't want to say even behind the scenes. It'll all be done in public. It'll all be done where everybody can see it. But nobody will see it because we'll all be busy, right?
Let's pay attention.
It's an old Guam thing. We refer to it as hiding in plain sight. And so this is what Daryl says to watch out for. Watch out for special interest legislation. Now, he's pretty particular here. Manhita Farms, the CLTC lots, YTK, incinerator contracts that just will not die. Watch for those kinds of things. Watch for certain measures, certain bills to come out. May have already had a public hearing that you didn't hear about that might pay somebody something. Might recompense somebody for long ago services to the government of Guam that haven't been paid. There's a couple of measures like that at the legislature now, and I'm not the only one watching to see what happens with them. I know that there are folks at the Attorney General's office that are watching on them as well. And Daryl's been at the legislature. He knows how the game is played there. Watch out for late night sessions, motions to return to motions, and motions to add bills to third reading file for voting, especially after the holidays. And there could be some of those kinds of things. And the problem is that, number one, by the time we all get around to recognizing that it's happened, it'll be too late to do anything about it. That's the concern. So keep a weather eye, guys and girls. This is one of those things that there's only so much that I can watch out for. For heaven's sakes, I got my own problems. So I need you to be on the lookout for all of those kinds of things that are taking place at the legislature. And if you see something hinky, if you see something that just that doesn't look right, that doesn't, I think I see what they're doing, but I also think I see something else going on. So what could it be?
Couldn't we do that about everything that they do down there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Shelley asking if we can find a number for GWA that a person answers. Maybe, could. Janae sending me a picture of a guy. What is it? What does it say? There's a sign. All right, hold on. No, it could be news. It's a protester in front of the legislature, where they have just had the. I've seen this. Guam Legal Bud, free weed, adult use, the better way. And let me see if I can save this and then throw it up on the Facebook Live. I don't know if I can do it. It's too much trouble. It's just suffice to say, there's a guy near the legislature holding a sign that says basically free weed.
He does realize that carrying a sign like that in front of a legislature could leave him up to suspicion and lead to a search of his person.
Yeah. If anybody cares, I don't know that anybody really cares. I don't. You know, here, this is a good example of it. Where's my Daily Post from today? Where did I put it? And it's a story Kevin Kerrigan did. 2, apply for cannabis cultivation. 2. In the intervening years, in the years that built up to the conversation about the medicinal marijuana referendum, and in the intervening years where we didn't actually come out with a medicinal marijuana program, you would think that there was all kinds of demand for it. There's hours and hours of talk radio that went into it. Thankfully, that's none of it that I participated a whole lot in, because I thought it was a futile conversation to begin with. And so, but you would think it was one of those deals that, oh my God, the people are suffering. That there's hundreds and hundreds of people out there that for the lack of a marijuana cigarette, They were just in pain and doomed to a withering death that they would be able to find absolutely no relief from. And then Louise came up with the bill over at the legislature, this little stopgap measure that the governor signed, which guaranteed that Louise was going to get reelected. And then everybody's okay. It's got and I remember remarking how quickly they moved over at public health, between the public health guys, the legislature, the police department, everybody else that needed to get involved. How quickly they moved to a point where they actually had the applications, and you can go to the Department of Public Health and Social Services website right now and fill out your application. And then all you got to do is get some kind of certification from a doctor that you have one of the maladies, and there's not too many of them, one of the maladies for which medicinal marijuana can be recommended for your relief.
That's hurdle number one. There's only one doctor on this island that will even remotely approach that level of condonement.
But there is one.
Yeah.
And he's apparently not busy. If there was a call for it, if there was a demand for it, the doctors are business people too. Mm-hmm. And if there was a demand for it, trust me, they would make a whole nother wing over at American Medical Clinic down the street.
Well, I think we got to separate here, though. There may be a people who have a demand or a need for the substance that cannot necessarily afford to put together a grow room, because you're going to have to invest upwards of about $5,000 for a well-working grow room, and that's if you put it inside your house. If you build it outside, you're looking at up to $10,000 just for the grow room that can sustain what they've legally allowed. Not many people have that.
I'm not buying it. I love you, buddy, but I'm not.
It's the truth.
I get it. I mean, if we wanted to buy the absolute best grow stuff, we wanted to throw all the best, look, it's a plant. It's like a flower. It's not, I don't think it's all that much different from the Tanga that can grow on asphalt, all of this other stuff.
Yep.
I think if you want to get the primo stuff, I mean, if you're talking about what have I been joking about is the snob. We're going to have the medicinal marijuana snobs that are out there saying, well, I only grow it indoors in a humidity-controlled environment, and I only use the absolute best combination of LED and incandescent light in order to bring out the absolute best of these buds. It's a plant.
But the fact is that legally you can only do it indoors, which adds the complications, because to do it indoors, then you must supply the light, you must supply the air, you must supply the nutrients.
Yeah.
It doesn't rain inside either. All of these things you have to supply.
Yeah.
It costs money.
It costs the same amount. I guarantee that there's a house near yours and mine. Mine doesn't currently have any plants living inside of it. But maybe when I get the Christmas tree out, maybe that's going to be it. I'm just of the mind here that it's a solution that was out looking for a problem, and they found a couple of people that they could bring in for testimony, and they said, we've absolutely got to do this, we've absolutely got to do it, and now we've been able to do it for a month, 2 months since the governor signed off on the paperwork, and there's still only a couple of people that have gone out for it. So is there more by way of a stopgap? What if we removed all of the restrictions? Because this is a local construct, right? If you wanted to, yes, you could put it against a window from the backyard. Would that assuage the financial concerns? You put it. Here's a pot, and you stick a marijuana plant in it, and you stick it by the rear window of the house so that it cannot be seen from the street. Would that eliminate any of the concerns? Would I still need the $10,000 grow light?
Probably.
Marry it. Marry it. I understand. Like I said, I don't think that's the whole big deal. I think there's a lot of folks that are going, well, I've really actually got a serious condition, and I think I need to do what the doctor tells me to do. Denise on Facebook Live is agreeing with you. I think they want to grow outside instead of inside. And the problem, I think, Denise, is if you grow it outside, somebody gonna sake it. Somebody will take it. They'll look and they'll say, hey, now that's an interesting plant. It would sure look good at my house, and grab it. and then you would be out your medicine. So I think that's one of the things that they want to do is just prevent people from being able to look in, to look inside your house or to look inside your backyard and see where all these marijuana plants are being grown. Or you can be like some of the other guys that are currently growing marijuana and just be armed to your teeth. That's what you do. And big signs outside that say, what are some of my favorite ones? Protected by Glock, right? Or the one with just the gun that says Castle Doctrine on it. Sometimes that's all you need.
I like the one that says, never mind the dog. Beware of the owner.
Yeah. Those are all of our favorite ones. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. In my mind, it seems to me, as I said before, a solution out looking for a problem. We now have the solution, which is one even the guys over at Department of Health and Public Services say they can't pay for. And so even if it were, let's pretend here for a second that you wanted to do everything by the book. I went to go see the doctor, paid the doctor. He certified that I have this ailment, and now I've filled out the forms, and I'm now capable of growing marijuana in my home. I can't grow it outside, so I've got to grow it inside. Can't be near a window because people aren't supposed to be able to see inside, so I'm going to have to do it inside and buy all of the crap, the grow lights, and the good soil. The good potting soil over at Home Depot. I'm not going for the cheap stuff, right? I'm going to go for the really, really good stuff, and I'm going to put my best compost in it. And raise.
Unless you decide to go fully hydroponic, then you don't need dirt at all.
I'm going to raise my own cows, so I'm in charge of the manure that goes into the fertilizer. I'm going to take it to that nth degree. So I'll do that. And do you know what the likelihood that I'll ever be inspected by the man to make sure that I'm in total and 100 complete compliance? You got a calculator, right?
I don't even.
I'll quote Bob Klitsky, who will be on the radio this evening this afternoon at 4. Somewhere between slim and none. They don't got the manpower, and even if they did, these guys are all busy going after restaurants that aren't keeping their sandwiches cold enough.
That they can't manage either.
What's it difficult? Hundreds of restaurants on Guam, and there's just a handful of these guys that can go and do it. And then you got some restaurants that aren't 8 to 5, like the Department of Public Health and Social Services are. So you got tricky schedules, things like that. It's like the ABC guys. When was the last time you ever heard of some place getting busted by the Alcohol and Beverage Commission?
Yeah.
You know why? Because the inspectors work 8 to 5. One of the bars open?
After 5.
There we go. 9:29 in the morning, 888-8255. That's 888-TALK. Again, send me your WhatsApp stuff at 988-5874. Always happy to hear from you there. I still use from time to time the old school method of Gmail. So Ray Gibson Show at gmail.com. Not the Ray Gibson Show at gmail.com. Just Ray Gibson Show at gmail.com. And I read every single one of the emails that I get. Sometimes I talk about them on the radio, but at least I read them. At least I read them. And sometimes they will determine where my head is going to go on certain topics and certain thoughts. Sometimes you can, in fact, change my mind. What have I got here? Did I get an email from somebody with a fundy? I did. Pretty Ashley asked me to read about this on the radio. There is a Super Typhoon U2 relief concert for the CNMI. It's going to be taking place at the Elks Lodge on Saturday night from 7 to 11. Tickets are only $15. And as I said, there's the proceeds are going to help out the folks up in the CNMI. Ben Lamb is going to be singing. Outrageous. Walden and Violi, John Gassis, Daniel De Leon Guerrero, the Tailgaters, the Conference Band, that's Conference with a K, Frank Guerrero, Wayne Schwartz, and Zuntors. And then it says, and more. So there will be and more if you want to help out with the Super Typhoon U2 relief concert. Again, it's going to be at the Elks Lodge on the 17th. What do you got?
Well, I was going to say, if you wanted more information on that, call Frank at 777-2078.
Gotcha. And one other note, and you should be able to get information at the Daily Post website or their app up until the 16th. I don't even know what day of the week that is. Where are we now? We're at today's the 12th, 13th?
Today is
13th. Okay,
13th,
so another 3 days. This is a long weekend, dude.
No, man.
Don't shame me like that. But there was a there is the Mariana Strong relief effort, one of the very first ones that popped up as soon as it got to be daylight up in the NMI. Everybody knew that there was going to be a considerable amount of help that needs to be provided up there. And so Mindy and a bunch of us got together, and Mindy basically created the Strong group, and we just kind of joined in for the publicity angle of it to let people know. And they've got containers, and they've been filling them up, and pretty soon they're going to take the containers off the lot and send them to the CNMI. They're going to take them to the shipper, and they're going to go up to the CNMI, and a whole bunch of people are going to be helped out. So you might want to think about doing that. And we're getting to a point where I think some of the basic supplies that they need are being seen to. And now we're looking at some nice to haves, not quite luxuries, but gee, it would be great if we had more Pampers. It would be great if we had more adult diapers. It would be great if we had some supplies for feeding babies. It'd be great if we had more disposable trash bags or whatever. If you've got an abundance of stuff, then you might want to find one of these relief organizations to give them to, and an Antonov will take them up there. I'm fond of telling people anymore, I am almost tired of seeing those airplanes. Just random, open the window, and here comes one of these planes. I'm like, oh, God, there's that again.
Each of the last two Saturday mornings when I'm on the other station at about 6:15, the smaller of the two Antonovs takes off, and there he goes.
And it's the smaller of the two Antonovs, but it's still a huge airplane. And then you see the big one coming by, and it is a miracle to me, as is most things. I mean, depending on where you are when you see them, they look like they could not possibly fly. There is just absolutely no way there is enough lift being generated at that speed. It's got to be all flap now, right? Yeah. At that speed, for it to remain in the air.
Because you looks like you could outrun it. It's moving so slow, like a 747. They look the same.
How is that even possible? And I was explaining to my daughter about the airplane yesterday, and she said, well, yeah, tell me a little bit about it. I said, and I pointed, I said, do you see that big truck over there? And she said, yeah. I said, you could park two of those, one on top of the other, inside the belly of that beast there, and have all kinds of other room left over. It's that cool, but now that you see him every day, some of that coolness has just kind of gone off. Oh, there's that thing again. Hey, look, it's 9:34 in the morning, 888-8250. You already get the telephone number 100 times. So just if you want to call. If you don't want to call, I don't care. I'll just keep with the stream of consciousness. And I might do today a little bit of what I did yesterday, and that is just a reprise of the Ray Gibson Show, Crap We Want Lou and Josh to fix. And if you've got some ideas and some items that you'd like me to add to the crap that we want Lou and Josh to fix, well, by all means, just send it over. I do need to tell you about this because it's important. iConnect is giving away instant prizes with their new 12-month mobile internet and push-to-talk plans. You'll also be entered in the Connect and Win drawing for a vacay for two to Manila. 888-8888 for details.
Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959. Now you can start planning for the holidays by getting a personal Christmas loan from $1,000 up to $3,500. Family Finance has 3 convenient locations to serve you. Give them a call in Dededo, 633-4473, Hagåtña, 475-4545, and the Upper Tumon location on the 2nd floor of the Pacific Building at 647-5626. Get your Christmas loans today from Family Finance.
It's the Sawsome Sauce Burger they've got over at Wendy's. I just cannot stop raving about this thing because I've had like 3 of them just in the last couple of days. The way it works is it's your basic cheeseburger, bacon cheeseburger at Wendy's, and they do it better than anybody else does. But they make it they make it better. They extra it by putting this Sawsome sauce in there. I can't even describe the Sawsome sauce. I will tell you it is so Sawsome. When my daughter wasn't looking, I actually licked the paper that the burger comes in, a little aluminum foil, tin foil paper thing that they use, the wax paper on one side. It's, she wasn't looking. I just licked the stuff up.
But someone else was looking.
God is always with me. Jesus is my co-pilot. I'd always get an extra one for Jesus, but he never eats it, so I eat it myself. Anyway, find it. It's the Sawsome Sauce Burger. You can find it in the single, triple, or double format at the nearest Wendy's.
Attention, federal employees and annuitants. Open enrollment begins on November 12 through December 10 for federal employees' health plans, with rates 19% lower than last year for Take Care's non-postal high option and access to PICA's best clinic, FHP Health Center. Our member perks are unparalleled. Take Care's supplemental wellness package provides cash incentives and access to 19 fitness partners, including the largest fully functioning fitness center in Hagåtña and Dedido. To learn more, call Take Care at 646-6956. Take Care, our island, your health plan.
For something on Facebook, and I don't know if I'm going to find it. I think if I say I might go to an event, does it automatically save the event for me? Yes, right. So it'll go. Yeah, these are the things that there it is. Okay, perfect. Found it because I said I was interested in going to this. I actually mentioned it earlier today. And I don't know that I did it justice, and rather. And it's not. This is not an advertisement. It was just something I was commenting about because I wanted to comment about something else. But Picas Guam is going to have a Brewers table. This is going to be taking place on November the 15th from 6 at 6 and again at 8 o'clock. And what it is, they're saying, join us for a special 4-course dinner paired with a sampling flight of locally crafted beers from the Guam Brewery. Be one of the first to try their line of brews Thursday, November the 15th. Pick up your tickets for one of 2 exclusive seatings at 6 or 8 p.m. Tickets available at Picas Cafe. Hurry, limited seating available. Now, you were able to go online for this, but I don't know if you can still do that. Yeah, they were lined up with foodbooking.com, and that was one way that you could get your tickets to go and watch this. Anyway, or to be a part of it. And the reason why I wanted to talk about it a little bit was because it was using this foodbooking.com on the World Wide Web. The other reason why was because I thought it might be a way for you to get into Picas Cafe, because sometimes you can't get in there. That's one of the things. I've managed to eat at Picas once, just once. I've managed to eat at the little mini Picas down in Tumon, maybe 3 times. It's a little bit easier to get in there, but the regular Picas, that's a little bit tricky. So anyway. I thought it was interesting because of the World Wide Web aspect of foodbooking.com, and it's something that I'd like you to try. And I'd like you to try it to let me know how it works. Is it possible that this might be a vehicle by which I might be able to go and find something that I want to eat and order it and then just kind of go pick it up, which saves me a lot of time. I am one of those people that, I kind of do like to peruse menus and things like that. But look, if I know all I want is a Loco Moco someplace or fancy cheeseburger from another restaurant, I know I don't need to look at the menu. I just need to go and either pick it up or sit down and enjoy it. So foodbooking.com, I think you can download an app or go to their website and it will know where you are so that you can start looking for the food. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not getting a whole lot out of the website. But anyway, so there's that. Give it a try. Let me know how it works, and then, we can share the information together. 20 away from the top of the hour, 888-8255. Facebook Live has been cranking all morning long. There's some interesting people with some interesting comments. I want to be able to pay for something at Rev & Tax at that counter rather than standing in another line and coming back to show my receipt. Nate Horn. If I had T-shirts to give away, I'd give you a Ray Gibson Show clear as day thinking. Why do we have to do that? It's not just at Rev & Tax. There's all kinds of other places where you've got to go, I want to say public health as an example. When I needed to get my mother's death certificates, I got in one line, filled out the form, And the lady says, how many copies you want? I told her how many copies I wanted. And then she wrote out a thing on a piece of paper and said, take this to the treasurer. And then the treasurer will give you another piece of paper with a stamp on it that says you paid. Bring that back to me. And I said, well, will you have everything ready? She says, have you seen the line over at the treasurer desk? I said, oh, okay, good point, babe. And I went and paid and came back, and sure enough, there it was, everything I needed, and all the copies, and everything was stamped and notarized, and everything that needed to happen so that I could walk out with a bona fide Government of Guam form.
Fact is, they should have sent the form over to the lady taking the money, and then when she got your money, she looks for your name on this thing and says, "Oh, here's your stuff. Bye."
See, I don't think what I think is they don't trust the clerks anywhere. So the person that's actually doing the work, I don't think they trust them enough to say, "Here's a cash register till. Here's money." So, and the other thing is, and I can kind of see this, having been in retail or associated with retail before. Now, follow the logic, right? That is where the service is delivered. Right. And let's say on some miraculous Monday that there are 5 positions where the service is being rendered and 5 different people to render that service with point of sales gear, with tills, with a change fund, and with actual money in it. So if I am the security, if I am the boss, and my job is to maintain control over all of this money for all of these different services rendered, I want that to happen in one place. I don't want to have to surveil a whole building.
No, exactly. No, I totally agree.
I believe is why it is done like that, because we don't trust all of these different people at all of these different stations to not have sticky fingers and put money in their own pocket.
Okay, and
we don't necessarily trust the people in the treasurer booth either. But I only have to watch those 2, not those 5.
I can only say how I've seen it done in other places. Now, I know everybody here is tired of hearing that argument, but in this case, it's solid.
Well, try it.
So the fact is you have the people who are doing the work, and they turn around and they send your material, once it's done, to the cashier. In the meantime, you go over to the cashier, you pay them, and then the cashier gives you the stuff that they have gotten from the caseworkers.
Right.
And so there is only one person in there. You're not relying on all the other caseworkers to handle money, and it's more efficient. Because when you get over there to the cashier, you're just waiting in line to pay, and your stuff's already there.
Yep. Render service, then go pay. I don't know. Thank you very much. Donna Kalani replying to my sister saying GWA's emergency dispatch is 646-4211. Most people have that, right there at the top of their heads. 944. Maybe there is a better way to do that. Maybe and Nate, to the point that you were bringing up here, that there might be a better way. I'm just telling you the way it's done and maybe why it's done that way. But you know what? I'm not in the banking business. I'm not in the banking business where the service rendered is of a financial nature, and we've got video cameras on everybody and everything that can move in a bank. And maybe that's part of it, is maybe we just need to do a better job of surveillance, trust our people a little bit more, and have them trust in the fact that if they did get sticky fingers and some of that money we weren't able to balance out at the end of the day, that we're going to check the video cameras. And there might be more than 1 or 2 cameras on you, and we might catch you in the act of stealing some money from us. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe that is what somebody from the private sector, the banking sector in particular, might be able to bring to the job. But if that's what you want, one of the things that you want Lou and Josh to fix, well, then I'll put that on the list. I'm going to write it down on the list right now. No more scurrying between. What do we want to call them?
How about we just change that to completely reorganizing rev and tax?
Stand by one. It's a lot shorter. Reorg, rev and tax.
Yeah. Satellite locations,
Well, they've got one. They've got one
and
at Agana
they're
Shopping
on-
Center. When
exactly.
when I got my new driver's license, I went to Agana Shopping Center.
But that's still a long drive for someone that lives in Arahan.
Could be.
See,
Could be.
they need a satellite location down on the south end, one in the middle, one up north. Of course, the Revenue Tax building, as it is now, could be the main office. That's where you do the heavy-duty stuff, property taxes, passports, that sort of thing.
Oh, God. You know what?
These satellite offices need to be for vehicle registration, driver's licenses, and that sort of thing.
Okay,
You
let
could
me.
take so
You
much-
got me thinking about something else.
Yeah, sorry.
No. It's more parking at ITC.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because there's a lot of GovGuami stuff that goes on over at the ITC building, and it's a zoo there. It's a jungle.
Yeah.
You know, smart money is park at like. I'm not going to say because they're going to get mad at me. I'm going to say, no, I didn't say Lone Star. I didn't say First Hawaiian Bank, but it's in my head. I want to say that. I don't know. That could work. Park elsewhere and walk over there. I know what you're thinking. It's Guam. It's hot. I hate to walk, but you'll survive it. It's not that far. It ain't that far, and you don't have to be a runner to say that. But more parking in ITC or less government at the ITC building. You figure it out. Brad Hoganson, love the great pictures of you and your brother on Facebook for Veterans Day, Brad. The clerk has to be a treasury agent to be able to take money, and he says we got all the boat registration clerks made treasury agents, so you could do exactly what you want. Pay where you register your boat. See, was it that hard? Was it that hard? There was another one. And they might still be doing this. Maybe we'll put this down. I'll put it down because I want to see if it's still done this way. Ganya swimming pool admission or swimming passes. There was a time where, and again, I came down to somebody that wasn't always at the Agana swimming pool that could take money and put it in a till and keep everything balanced. So what they made you do was you would have to go to the Department of Parks and Recreation's headquarters and buy yourself passes to go swimming in the swimming pool, as opposed to finding somebody that could stand at the door and as customers came in, gave them the pass and took their cash. Why it was easier, and I don't know that it was, to send them to the headquarters and then back down, I don't know. And I don't know if they're still doing that. I want to say that they are, but it's been a long time since I've thought about that. And I think for a lot of people that were inconvenienced by it, they just found a way to go someplace else and get their swim on from someplace else. Hey, Brad, how you doing?
Hey, Ray.
I'm here.
How are you?
You know what? I'm doing absolutely terrific.
Well, you know, I bought a summer house in Maine in April, and I can register my car, my boat, at the town office. And you know how long I stood in line at the town office?
In Maine?
One person. And so you can do, you know, all of this stuff at town offices all over the state.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe here we could do it at the mayor's offices. Because it's not impossible. When I managed the boat registration office, you used to have to go over to DOA and pay and then come back to the boat basin to pick up your boat registration.
Mm-hmm.
We just had our clerks made treasury agents and got a point-of-sale system put in, and you can now pay for your boat registration where you get it.
Where the boat it's actually going to be.
Where you register your boat.
Yeah.
Which right now is up at in Sinahanya, next to the old Mark's hardware.
No, I think I know where that is. But it's not a boat basin, right?
No, it's not a boat basin anymore. The fire department took over that space.
Right.
But it is possible to get clerks to become treasury agents and take money.
How automated was the system there at this this town office that you went to? I mean, did they have access to a computer system where they could take your application, register you online, find out what benefits you were eligible for, or maybe something as simple as I fill in these blanks and then something comes out of the printer?
They were able to apparently log on to the main DMV system and do the registration right online and hand me my license plate.
And
my registration.
And you don't necessarily have to be in a DMV to do that.
No, it was a town office.
Yeah. So the possibilities are out there. And so more to the point, Brad, is what I'm trying to do is come up with my list. My very hopeful Lulian Guerrero and Josh Tenorio won the lottery here and are now the almost presumptive governor and lieutenant governor-elect, and I want to hand them a list of things, and they're not the big things. I'm not asking for you guys to fix Guam Memorial Hospital. That was in the platform. You're supposed to do it anyway. It's a whole bundle of just little annoying things that we've had to put up with over the years.
I got one. I live on Cross Island Road, and I'd really like a stripe down my road.
You have no stripe down Cross Island Road?
It is awful. You ought to try driving from, I go up to Anderson a bunch and drive home at night. You ought to try driving on these roads at night from Anderson in the rain. It is absolutely horrible.
Just a stripe. Here's where you drive and here's where the other lane drives.
And I don't care if you are going to rip the road up tomorrow and fix it. I want a stripe on it today, and you can put a new one on when you fix it.
Wait. Did they not, on Cross, did they not go through all kinds of reconstruction, at least down a chunk of one side of the road when they were putting in all of the infrastructure for the solar company?
No, they did half of it from Route 4 and 17 up to Baza Gardens.
Yeah.
But the other half is all torn up from the sewer line that they're putting in from Baza Gardens to Agate. And there hasn't been a line on the road in years, except for the little pieces that they fixed. It's really ridiculous. The little pieces that they fixed because of the sewer line project, there's a line on the little short piece that they fixed.
Right.
Not the rest of it.
Right. So, and I remember being annoyed by that on behalf of everybody that lives on that road, because they went in but they chopped it up, but they chopped it up in sections. You know, it's hopscotch construction because they didn't need to pull out the entire road. They just go and chop up, 20 square feet over here, do the work, and then put some more asphalt on it. And I thought, there's enough of this hopscotch work that you're doing. Frankly, you could have replaced the entire road.
Well, the other thing that they need to do is they need to buy a truck that lines roads. We line roads like they line a football field with somebody pushing something. Come on.
When you and I were little boys, we used to have one that would drive down the road with white paint in the back of it or yellow paint.
Yeah, they make trucks that you can paint 2 or 3 lines at a time. And again, where I live in Maine, the lines get all torn up because of the snow plows in the winter. They paint the roads before the summer's over, all of them. We can't do this by a guy pushing a thing, putting paint down. We need to buy a truck so we can start painting at Anderson and end up in Molesso every year.
With stripes down the side of the road that you can see in the dark when it rains. Brad, it makes too much sense. I'm putting it down on my list of crap that I want Josh and Lou to fix. I'll talk to you soon. 73, buddy. See you on the radio, 954. See, normally we'd exchange call signs because we're both amateur radio operators. But I don't want to put on any airs. I want to be known as that radio snob. Talking about his great amateur radio and his HF around the world. Where am I supposed to go? Quick break? and I'll be right back.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sport Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sport Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Atkins Kroll.
Guam Regional Medical City. We bring the healthcare advances of the world directly to you. We are an acute care hospital that complements your needs with our robust outpatient specialty clinics. From preventative care to critical care, we strive for consistent excellence at GRMC. Our core philosophy is where patients are partners, which means we work as a team to make a healthier version of you. For more information about GRMC, visit us at grmc.gu.
Hungry? Enjoy a hearty, rich, and delicious cup of hot soup. In the mood for chili instead? You can have that too. And get a scoop of rice while you're at it. Circle K. Take it easy. Stop by Circle K and pick up snacks to satisfy your cravings without sacrificing good health. Look for the Better For You labels to find what works with your lifestyle. Low carbs, high protein, low sugar, and more. Circle K. Take it easy.
All right, I've got a little bit more information on the Kenjo deal. Apparently, the complaint against Kenjo was over the spoof Autospot did on Kenjo's Coffee with the Candidates interview. I know nothing else about it other than that. Is that was the genesis of it. Apparently, there might be some kind of a disagreement involving how it worked out, what the end result was. I don't know what it was going to end up being. But the words weasel were used. Let's try to use twat waffle today, please, guys. If you get a chance, you will have somebody like that around you somewhere. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know when it's going to be. It's probably going to be today at some point, but be on the lookout for an actual twat waffle. And the Urban Dictionary defines it as I don't know how they decided. It's basically another word for imbecile, but it's a certain kind of imbecile. And it's a kind of imbecile that is offended by things that most people find funny. Right? And then they come after you because they're offended, right? And they make you stop offending them, even though they're the ones that are in the minority. There were a couple of guys, a movie called Good Morning Vietnam with Robin Williams. There were at least two readily identifiable twat waffles in that one. They believed that they had the authority to make you stop offending them. And so I intend to be the anti-twat waffle. And whenever I see that, maybe we ought to have a code just, among us, point listeners. Just, when you hear somebody start talking, you just go, TW. I guess we could just actually say it. Twat waffle. Like in what? Like in the National Lampoon's Animal House?
Yeah.
I can't say that word on the radio,
No.
but it was fun. All right. Now, do I have enough time to finish up the program? No, I've got 13. I got a minute and 13 seconds to finish things up. Well, that's just wonderful. All right, tomorrow, it is hoped that there will be more actual news to talk about. Today, lots of small talk, because frankly, all of the things that we were talking about today, I talked about yesterday. So I don't know. I think the only other thing that was interesting that I didn't bring up, and I'll save it for tomorrow, is an editorial from Dr. Vince Akimoto where he actually uses the phrase matrilineal mama bears. Matrilineal mama bears. How does he use it? In what context is it safe to use the phrase matrilineal mama bears? Well, you can dig out the editorial or tune in tomorrow morning. Or you might hear it on Bob Klitzky's program this afternoon at 4. Hey, I got to run. The music's playing in the background. That's my signal to Vamoose. So for Michael Knight and Kevin Kerrigan and Blake Watson, my name is Ray Gibson. Thank you so much for listening. Can we do this again tomorrow? Can we agree that we'll all be back here tomorrow after an incredible Tuesday? Good. Then I'll see you then. We're KUSG Agana, headquarters for Fox News Live.
Deadly
Wildfires in California. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. New fires popping up in Northern California where the Camp Fire has killed at least 29. Hundreds of structures in Southern California up in flames where the Woolsey Fire is being fueled by high winds. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal has more live.
Lisa, resources were coming in to help from places like Texas as new fires kept starting here in SoCal as well, thanks to the continuing wind. LA County Fire Chief Darrell Osby said they're dealing with 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts through Tuesday.
We have 370 structures that have been lost.
Mostly in Malibu. More devastating damages to the north. In the town of Paradise, 29 bodies were found in homes and cars overcome by fire. Many more people are still considered missing, and thousands are still evacuated. More than 67 structures have been destroyed in